Welcome my friends to another Gears of War E-Day discussion video, and in this one I wanted to address the community's concerns in a wishlist sort of video where I asked you guys, what do you want to see in Gears of War E-Day? Could be something major or something very small, minute, and I wanted to be a voice for you in the community leading up to Gears E-Day and beyond. So I asked on Twitter, my YouTube community post, and on Reddit as well, and we're going to be going through all of it, so this will be probably a long one. And yeah, as always, I'm your host Abs, and without further ado, let's get into it. So I'm going to read all of your comments, give my thoughts, add on to what you're saying, and some ideas might not have a lot of basis, so we might have to kind of brush some ideas aside, but that doesn't mean that your opinion doesn't matter. It might be that I need to add on to that or tweak little things, whether it's to do with lore or other aspects, could be some gameplay stuff. But yeah, we're going to get into it. So I said, what do you want to see in Gears E-Day? Could be something major or something very small. I'm going to try and create a Gears E-Day community wishlist video with all of our collective, constructive thoughts. So this is why I wanted to make the video like this as well. Let me know if you do like the style. Unscripted, unfiltered. So yeah, let's get into it. Now then. The top one says, my favorite from Gears they should bring back is Beast Mode. Have it bigger and better. Have it more flushed out. You mean fleshed out. And dear God, no more time limit on it. Okay, so, of course, Beast Mode, there's a lot of likes on this one. So, obviously, a lot of people want to see it back. Obviously, this post got 520 likes. It's only 20 hours ago that I posted it. So, so he wants Beast Mode back. A lot of people do. He wants it more fleshed out, so a lot more enemies, Locust characters to play at. You got a whole Locust roster to play as, right? And dear God, no more time limit. Well, I understand what you're saying here, but if there's no time limit on it, then how do you lose? Otherwise you're just gonna win every single time, every single wave. So if there's no time limit, there has to be something else. But yeah. What would be the challenge if there's no time limit? Yeah, exactly. I believe the time limit is a good thing, especially because of Hammer of Dawn, yeah. Maybe an option to not have a time so you can have fun playing as Locust. Beast Mode 2.0. Yeah. Okay, I really want the campaign to feel extremely bleak with a severe sense of panic. I really want them to sell how devastating E-Day was. The tone in the initial trailer was great, very helpless. I really hope that's carried over. And Horde Mode, just put everything in: Locust, Swarm, Lambent, DBs. So let's split this into two. Obviously, it's E-Day, right? So there's got to be a sense of urgency and panic on Sarah. No one knows what's happening. It has to be very bleak and dark. The COG doesn't know what's happening. The soldiers don't know what's happening. The media doesn't know what's happening. So yeah, great point. And hopefully that's the case. Horde mode, just put everything in. Obviously, Horde is not non-canon because multiplayer shouldn't be canon. But me personally, I don't want to see Swarm and DBs in there because I don't know, it doesn't really fit what you're kind of going for. I don't know if Lambent, yeah, probably put Lambent in it because the enemy roster is great there. But Locust, definitely, just go all out with Locust. So DBs maybe, but I like the idea of everything similar to 5. But maybe add the real classic Horde mode with traps and weapon buys to not just arcade-like abilities. No, I disagree. Keep the Swarm and DB bullshit out of it. This is a prequel and needs to say it's only Locust. Yeah, I probably still agree with that. I don't mind Lambent though, to be fair. Yeah. I want to see civilians running, hiding, maybe even help the COG. Well, I don't think they're going to help the COG much. But they need, you need to see more of the civilians running around. You want to see, children hiding, families hiding under rubble. And the Locust, using the wretches like sniffer dogs, kind of trying to find trapped civilians and even capturing them, killing them. The Locusts don't discriminate, whether it's children, whether it's men, women, doesn't matter. Yeah. It's Horde mode, the more variety in it, the better. Taking content away is not the way forward, and just adopting the attitude new equals bad. I don't agree with it at all. Yeah, well, it depends, right? Because if you're going to have a Locust Grenadier and a Swarm Grenadier, that's pointless. Because those two enemies are the same thing. Because the Swarm just basically copied the Locust, right? If you're going to have a Scion Boom Shot and a Locust Boomer, those two are the same thing, basically. So, you know, if you've got a Lambent Drudge and you've got a Locust Cantus or Locust Theron, those are different, completely different things. Even a Lambent Berserker is very different to a Locust Berserker. So, but like something like a Warden is very different to anything in the Gears universe. But it will get a bit confusing, but then again, it's non-canon anyway. So maybe they can add more content over time with Horde. More enemies over time to keep it engaging. So I agree that the idea of new equals bad is not a good way of thinking, and that the more content the better, but my main thought is, how would DBs even exist? This took place even a decade before Baird makes, yeah, but this is all, yeah, but Horde isn't canon anyway, so it doesn't really matter. Yeah, non-story content, like in Gears 5, you fight Lambent, Matriarchs, Ram, Scourge, even Mirror, and adding all that additional variety was the best thing they did to Gears 5 Horde. All experience with literally everything in it, all Swarm, Locust, Lambent, DBs, and all bosses from all factions would be perfect. So, there is some disagreement there. Me personally, I want it to be Locust, because make it Locust, but like you wouldn't be able to fight Ram and, you know, the Krill, and you want Scourge there, you want a Hydra, you know, you don't want maybe Srark, Jamad, you want Berserkers. The Locust enemy roster, like when you look at the whole enemy roster of the Locust, Savage Locust as well, even the Tempest, Queen Mirror, all of that is a huge enemy roster. Even in Gears 2, 3, you couldn't fight Ram and the Krill, you couldn't fight Scourge and a Hydra. So you didn't have emergence holes popping up in Horde. So they could do that with Horde mode. So there's a lot you can do even with just the Locust. They just haven't fully tapped into it. That's not even considering the Lambent or the Swarm or DBs. But me personally, I want Locust and Lambent because it's the Locust War. So yeah, that's my opinion there. They probably won't do this, but they should add weapon upgrades from Gears Tactics, sights, barrels, drum mags, etc. Have them show up in cutscenes. So firstly with that is a good idea, but well, hang on. It would make sense that the COG and UI are better equipped before the COG goes scorched earth with the hammer strikes later in the timeline. Yeah, because obviously the military is, the COG military and even the UIR, they're way stronger at that time and that point in the timeline. The COG, obviously this is before the Locust, you know, decimate them, the Gears on the front lines, and, you know, before the hammer strikes, like you said. But on E-Day, I feel like they're kind of going for, you know, there's going to be scarce weaponry and stuff. But maybe later down the line, as you kind of find your footing against the Locust and Marcus and Dom learn to cope with them, then maybe you can have weapon upgrades like that. So yeah, that would be interesting. The Jack upgrades should return from Gears 5. With that one, I don't think Jack was as, you know, technologically advanced compared to Gears 5, but they could definitely do more with Jack. Yeah, definitely, because in the trilogy he's just there. Like, he doesn't really, you can't really do much with him. You just rip that door, that's it. Yeah. UIR equipment, characters, lore, I desperately crave it. Yeah, we got to see more on the UIR. Some UIR leadership aspects, you know, maybe the COG leadership is contacting the UIR leadership during that time saying, what's happening, are you guys attacking again? Just quickly find out it's not the UIR, it's something way worse. So yeah, maybe, you know, who's it, Yuri Deshenko, the UIR's leader at the time, and obviously you see the COG's leadership as well. I need Carmine, maybe Clayton. So of course, we all love the Carmines, and I'm sure we're going to get a lot of this. But with this one, this is great. I think Clayton was either a recruit on E-Day or maybe younger, so it might be a tough one trying to get Clayton in. Because I think even, was it in Ram Shadow, I think initially it was supposed to be recruit Clayton in there. So, and that was 9 years after E-Day. Obviously that didn't go ahead, but I think for Carmine, you're probably better off with Carmine's dad, or a Carmine uncle or something, you know, I don't think Marcus and Dob should interact with them. Otherwise, they would have known when they met Anthony and Benjamin that, oh, this was your dad. We served with him 14 years ago, or your uncle or something. But yeah, definitely, just somewhere Carmine dying. Just let's see a little bit of Carmine and then get him killed off. Yeah. More law about local society and religion, and also expand more on the UIR law. In general, I hope we get more law on factions other than the COG. So more law about local society and religion, definitely, but I don't think that would be in the mainline game. It would be good to see more of that in collectibles, in probably cutscenes from the locust perspective, whether they do a DLC on that or not. But E-Day itself is from Marcus and Dom's point of view and the COG, like the human's perspective. So, and they know nothing about the locust in this timeline. They know nothing apart from Adam Phoenix, obviously. But they just thinking, whoa, what is this monsters coming from underground? You know, the locusts can't just emerge. And Marcus is saying, oh, locust wretch, locust drone. They don't know what these creatures are. You know, they're like monkey dogs. The wretches are monkey dogs, like what Benjamin Carmine said. And yeah, the humans don't have a clue. So it's going to be interesting how they go about that. It might have to be a Locust DLC or something, or collectibles and stuff like that, or just cutscenes just from the Locust perspective. Kind of showing, like, you know how it was in Ram's Shadow, where you play as Ram, like there's a little cutscene before that, and it's Ram's perspective, so something like that would be interesting. I would honestly like to be able to fight as both the UIR and COG. Your UIR campaign can bleed into you barely surviving and signing up with the COG, and then you pick up with a young Marcus Phoenix and how his time surviving E-Day with Dom went. So basically, there'd be a UIR indie, and he actually, you know, joins the COG because obviously UIR basically finished, and then he's in Marcus and Dom's squad. But that's kind of like what happened to Paddock anyway. So that's a bit of repetition there, but I don't know. It's interesting potentially. Unless it's Ty and Patrick Sultan in our squad, then like I don't know what you kind of do with this character. Interesting though. A UIR perspective is needed on E-Day, definitely. Yeah, you are onto something. Also more Carmines. I want to see more of these heroic bastards, fine men and women, every last one of them. Except you, Gary, you filthy draft dodger. Yeah. More Carmines for sure. 4-player co-op back. Yes, we need that. We need that. No matter what. That was absolutely insane. 4-player co-op is needed, like in Gears 3, yeah. But to keep the attention, in the parts where it's just Marcus and Tom, just have player 3 and 4 be nameless gears. Yeah, okay. Why not? Why not if it works? If it works out. Unless it's a squad, then I mean, if Ty and Pad Sultan or someone else is in our squad, it could work. Man, what an experience that would be, playing 4 players Gears E-Day on Insane or whatever it is. And Beast Mode to return. Well, Beast Mode again, a lot of people do like Beast Mode. They've already stated they are doing the origin story to the Lancer Mark II, and Ty was the inspiration behind that idea. So I'm honestly happy enough if Ty is one of the squad members alongside Marcus and Dom. Just make E-Day dark and gritty like the original game and co-op story mode. So yeah, obviously, as I've discussed in previous videos as well, Ty does have he is tied into the Lancer Mark II, the Lancer Chainsaw's origins. So I'd assume as well that he will be one of the squad members. That'll be dope to see Ty again. Just make E-Day dark and gritty like the original game and co-op story mode. Yep. But it's got to be even more darker and grittier because this is E-Day. This is where it all goes down. And yeah. An element in the campaign similar to Gears of War 2 where you feel like you're still part of a large-scale conflict fighting, defending multiple battlefronts and operational missions. Try and push the Locust army. Would like for them to experiment with the extraction shooter elements like gun patrols, a raid, escort, evacuation, expedition, or a rescue mission with an extraction zone, but almost the ending for every mission. Yeah, it's interesting because in Gears of War 2, yeah, they're taking the fight to the Locust in Operation Hollow Storm, and it's got that big fight feel to it. You know, on the mission to Landau, when you see Assault Derricks, King Ravens, and the Locust trying to stop you on the way there. But it's E-Day, so it's like, you know, how do the COG respond? They have to throw everything they have at the Locust. So you got to see the whole vehicles, the King Ravens, any other vehicles and, you know, weaponry that the COG had at the arsenal. And obviously the military was much stronger then. So the COG has to be like fully expanded upon. You got to show what the COG was capable of at its full capability, basically. Yeah, extraction shooter elements, patrols, raid, escort, evacuation, expedition, or rescue mission with an extraction zone. Yep. That's interesting. I don't know how many patrols or raids you can do when locusts are just popping up in every single corner. Rescue missions, you definitely do that. Obviously, so many civilians trapped. Yeah, I wonder if they can implement some of that. There better be a Carmine or we riot. The original Gears did an amazing job of making you feel outgunned and just on the verge of getting overrun without it being impossible. And you could only survive because you're supposed to. It felt like you were always about to lose, but there was just that silver of a chance of winning without it being complete plot armor. Yeah. I need that back and the Locust to be terrifying. I also want to see us start with the Retro Lancer and maybe halfway through the campaign meet up with Marcus's dad and get issued with a new Lancer with a chainsaw. So this is quite a good comment because yeah, the original Gears, like, we are the support, as Hoffman said, and basically you see Lieutenant Min just get slaughtered by Ram, and it's all on you, a war veteran who's spent the last couple of years in prison in the slab, and yeah, you know, you are on the verge of getting overrun, and but it's good. But Gears E-Day can eclipse Gears 1 in so many ways. It's actually showing, you know, just how desperate the COG were on E-Day and the devastating damage that the Locust did on that day. Because Gears 1 was just more like, you know, we're 14 years into the war, we're desperate, but now we've got a plan, we've got the light mass bomb, we need the resonator, and the Locust General's trying to stop you. But yeah, but E-Day can just eclipse that because it's a 10 times bigger event as well. So yeah, the Locust will be terrifying. Hopefully, like we saw in the trailer, obviously. Yeah, obviously the Lancer is going to play a big part in Gears E-Day, as they explained already. So yeah, that'd be great. Carmines, as far as the eye can see, and guns, lots of guns. Everyone just wants to see a bunch of Carmines die on E-Day. Man, you guys are heartless. And guns, lots of guns, of course. Horde for sure, of course. Horde should be in it, obviously. I'm also hoping we see a few of the other characters too. I'm positive we won't see Cole or Baird, but Hoffman, Prescott, Kim maybe, and Anya. Considering she had a kid with Marcus, I'm assuming she's closer to his age, though she looks younger. Adam Phoenix seems pretty likely. Probably Ram and Mirror too. So I did make a video explaining all the characters, but Cole joined, was it on Emergency or shortly after? I think it was shortly after. Baird joined on E-Day. Hoffman should be there. Prescott, I think he was part of the COG government, but he wasn't the chairman at the time. It was Chairman Daliel. Kim, yeah. Anya, yeah. Adam Phoenix, definitely. Well, obviously, I don't know if Min wouldn't be in our squad, and Hoffman, you know, you can hear him on Control, or he's doing his own thing basically, probably, and probably Ram and Mirror too. So Ram kind of playing cutscene. I don't know if Marcus and Dom would encounter him. Yeah, I'm not sure if Marcus and Dom would encounter him, but it would good to see him in a cutscene or two, just showcasing the devastation on E-Day and how he was leading the charge with Scourge perhaps, and Mirror too, so I wonder what she's doing there. Yeah, But the cog cannot see mirror, because if they do, then that just doesn't make sense, because you know, they didn't even know that a locust queen existed, and she was a human as well. No one knew that apart from Adam Phoenix, so you need to be very careful with how they do this. Simple, the grit that made me love the series to begin with. Damn right. And solid, fun Nasha battles. I have full faith. Yeah. We need fun Nasha fights in E-Day. So you need like a traditional multiplayer mode for that. But we will get more into the multiplayer as well, because I think there will be a lot more multiplayer comments as well. There's just a lot of campaign ones at the moment. But here we go, Overrun, one of the best mode of Gears. We do need Overrun back. Many people have said it, including myself. But it can be way better than that. So Overrun 2.0 or War Mode, whatever you want to call it, big team battle, I don't know. Plays the Locust, plays the Cog, vehicles, Locust, Blood Mounts, Brumax, Reavers, Cantus. You can go all out with that, honestly. You can do 10v10, 20 versus 20, 30 versus 30. You got Game Pass, you got the players there, you've got... If it lands on PlayStation, you've got the players there. You got so many players there. More fleshed out COD character set, more variety, insane amount of classes. Just half of those would be good enough. Yep. Very true. Overall, with Gears 5 classes and enemies would be fire. Yeah. You could do a lot with the COD soldiers. Yeah, with having those Gears 5 classes or something similar. My wife and I have recently got back into playing Horde. We've been really enjoying getting 50 waves done. A potentially great improvement would be more options and settings for host private matches, such as enable, disable bots, increase, decrease health of players or enemies, different modifications for more gameplay options like constant enemy spawning or boss only modes. Yeah, if you're playing private Horde, you should be able to customize it how you want to, right? That would be great. I didn't play a lot of Gears 5 Horde, but I really loved it in Gears 2 and 3. I did play a good amount of 4, but Gears 2 and 3 Horde was where it was at for me. But yeah, you should be able to customize it privately and actually have like a lobby browser for different Horde matches going on in different setups, and you know, customize it how you want, basically. That would be really interesting, actually. That's a good point. Tons of enemies must get a sense of feeling overwhelmed. Yes, E-Day, you gotta have, you know, you gotta have enemies coming at you at speed, like, and you're helpless. Like, you have to survive using no matter what, like the TV, for instance, in the trailer. Yeah. In my opinion, I want to see characters from the comics that weren't in the games. Yeah, so let's see Helena Stroud, for instance, in like a Pendulum Wars prologue alongside Carlos Santiago as well. Yeah, that'd be interesting. Maybe even Adam Phoenix's assistant, Neville. There's a lot you can do with some side characters. I hope they do well with the Berserker and the campaign. So then, now in my Locust Enemies video for Gears E-Day, I mentioned that in Gears 1, Marcus encountered a Berserker for the first time. But it doesn't have to actually be this way, because Marcus just came out of prison and Bear just likes to explain things to you anyway. It could just be that Marcus was like, oh, what's this? What was that? And he's like, oh, Berserker. Bear was just telling him, oh, she can hear us, she can smell us. But Marcus, he was fighting for 10 years in the Locust War. It makes no sense that he didn't encounter one single Berserker for 10 years. So I think it's just because, it would be better just to retcon that, and he would, well, not retcon it, but just say that, you know, he just came out of prison after so many years. You know, he was just getting up to speed again, really. So, or maybe it's just Bear just saying things anyway, just explaining things when no one asked him to. Perhaps. Maybe. Beast mode from Gears 3, but better. Yeah, obviously. Beast mode again. The Breach Shot, my favorite gun in Gears. Breach Shot, yeah. That's a great weapon, man. I think that should return, yeah. Focus the story on the humans, of course, but give us some time to Ram, Scourge, and the Locust culture and why they're coming to the surface. Maybe in a DLC, yeah, I agree. Or better yet, the next game can be Locust Focus. Clayton Carmine, Dizzy, Michael Barrick, and Paddock, I want them in the game. The Clayton Carmine, in terms of campaign, obviously multiplayer, you do what you want with characters, but in terms of campaign, Clayton, probably a recruit or very young on E-Day, so Dizzy, he was stranded then. Well, was he? No, he was stranded after the hammer strikes, obviously. He might have still been part of the Navy at this time, so maybe you could actually get Dizzy, potentially. Michael Barrick, he was a civilian and he joined after Operation Lifeboat. Years later, Paddock, I mean, man, you never know, Paddock. I mean, he would have been in Grozny anyway, if you want something from Khan's perspective on E-Day in a cutscene or something. I don't know. Locust and UIR campaign DLCs at the top of my wish list. Locust could be fighting any of the factions. Cog, Lambert, UIR, or Stranded. The UIR campaign should be their perspective against the Locust or the Cog. Interesting. So it would be a DLC. This person wants the DLC. The Locust, yeah, they could be fighting. Obviously, they're taking on everyone. The Locusts don't discriminate. They're taking on Cog. They're taking on UIR. They're fighting the Lambent Underground. They're taking out the civilians and later on the Stranded, obviously. The Locusts, they're doing everything. And the UIR campaign should be their perspective against the Locust or the Cog. So, yeah, that could be a potential DLC as well, without a doubt. I really do want a Band of Brothers vibe, but also very intense and dark atmospheric campaign. And hope to God this campaign is at least more than 30 hours, because there's just so much to cover in Gears, especially during E-Day. So Band of Brothers is brothers to the end, of course, Marcus and Dom, we already know. So they kind of alluded to that in the trailer, obviously, and they did mention that in their interview, I think. So that's good to hear. Hopefully they go back to that, of course. I think they know what they're doing there, hopefully. Very intense and dark atmospheric campaign, I agree. And you want more than 30 hours in the campaign, I mean, it'd be interesting. I would love that, obviously. Yeah, why not? Overrun 2.0, that's literally all I ever wanted since the disaster of Judgment. Yes, Overrun 2.0 once again. One of the only good things that came out of Judgment. Well, I'm saying that, but I know many people agree there. I want more Carmine lore, possibly a little gameplay playing as a Carmine in the story. Well, I don't think you'd last very long, firstly, and secondly, I don't know if they have much lore. I mean, you could look into the life insurance agency. I just look at something to do with Carmines, maybe. I also want the DLC of Baird's and Cole's point of view on E-Day. Yeah, that'll be very interesting actually. Multiplayer horde mode, bots enabled, but it's the main characters, not normal Cog. Also randomizes any other game mode having bots enabled with randomizing characters, including DLC characters. See, this is the very little details that I want as well to hear from you guys, because yeah, because like let's say in Gears 3, you know, if there's one bot that joins because, you know, someone's left, that bot basically becomes any character. Well, it might be a DLC character, it might be like Mechanic Baird or Thrashball Cole or Big Rig Dizzy, or it could just be like normal Hoffman or normal Marcus in Gears 3 version. And I think in Gears 5, if someone leaves and it's a bot, I think it just gives you Kate or Fars or Swarm Drone or something, and nothing beyond that, I don't think. So these are the little nuances I want you guys to pay attention to, and obviously, you know, not everyone's going to remember this, and obviously, you know, we all got to chip in together, so that's very good there, man, well done. Yeah, this person agrees as well. Something I wish they would add is armor customization, like Halo Infinite for example. I definitely don't want to see any stupid stuff like in real life people cat ears glitter etc, but I can imagine a gear with a Locust skull attached to his arm, or like Ty's armor where it's patched together but still looks pretty uniform. And also it needs to fit in with Gears of War, and I want it to look like you can see this on some veteran gears. I think it can definitely work, but they have to absolutely nail it the first time. Now this, I think, you know, when I saw this in Gears Tactics, the endless customization, I thought, wow, that's amazing. But after thinking about it more over the years, for a mainline game, I don't think I would want it. Simply because if they start selling you helmets and armor cores and locust shoulder pads or whatever separately, that's getting dangerous. They're gonna monetize the hell out of everything. Do not ask for this unless you want everything behind a paywall. Like, I would prefer, you know, you get skins like, you know, Cyclops, you get the full character. Flame Grenadier, you get the full character, right? If you start asking for like a Cyclops helmet on its own, then you're gonna have to buy that helmet on its own, and then, I mean, obviously, Gears cosmetics are 10 times, 100 times better than Halo's. Yeah, I said it, but I don't know. I think it's a good idea for sure, but I think it's getting a bit risky if you ask for stuff like that, because they're gonna monetize stuff, obviously, whether it's battle pass or it's you know, buying stuff in the shop. If you ask for stuff like this, I'm asking you the question: do you want them to sell you a Cyclops helmet on its own, a Locust Sniper's goggles on its own, a Cantus's helmet on its own, you know, Dom's knife attachment on its own? Do you want that? Well, I don't. I want actually full skins. You know, I want to be able to buy Thrashball Call, Big Rig Dizzy, Mechanic Bird, V-Day Marcus, Recruit Clayton, whatever. Because there's plenty of skins in the Gears of War universe. There's plenty of characters. And so that's why I think Gears doesn't need this. But they could sell little add-ons like this, like, you know, like a weapon charm, like imagine a Locust skull hanging off your Nasher. So things that fit the universe as well. Like, I don't want to see like a, you know, like a toilet blood spray or like a little toilet hanging off your Nasher. That's stupid. But yeah, I don't know. Let me know what you guys think. I don't want to like shut down your idea, but I think people that ask for this is dangerous. Obviously, knowing how, you know, AAA gaming is now, with microtransactions, you know, live service basically. So I don't know. What I want to see is the entire events of the books during E-Day. The Coalition doesn't need to add more or retcon anything, just follow the books. Interesting. Agreed. Yeah, obviously, there's all the guidelines are there. Obviously, there's the good thing about E-Day is, you know, you just have to, you kind of have to, you follow the books, and you might have to retcon one or two little bits, obviously, because like the Chainsaw Origins, for instance, because Judgment messed that up anyway. And even Gears Tactics a little bit to a degree, but obviously, like even the trilogy, everything, the source material, everything is there. You just have to work backwards. Oh, sorry, my camera just moved out of focus there. There we go. Because my camera's got this hand gesture control, so it messes up sometimes. But yeah, next one. Papa Carmine, the big cheese of the Carmine family. Yes, sir. The big cheese. Yeah, man, let's get Carmine's dad in there somewhere. Maybe he was a pilot or something. Maybe he was a Salt Derrick driver or whatever, I don't know. But let him meet his demise in a nice Carmine fashion. And optional UIR side stories. I really want to see the tension between the COG and UIR play a role in the world building. Interesting. I mean, I don't know if you're going to see much of that tension on E-Day, because they got bigger issues to deal with, right? But there is still going to be some tensions, obviously, because like even in Judgment, where you see Loomis and Paddock, they still hate each other. Even when there's war on Sarah, humanity is on the brink of extinction, and the UIR and the Gears and the Indies still hate each other because they're fresh off a 79-year war. So yeah, I agree with what you're saying actually. Bring back the war in Gears, a mix of 1 to 3 but bigger and better. Well, yeah, like, you know, Gears 2, like I said. Obviously, Gears 2 is the epitome. It's the encapsulates Gears of War. Gears 2 for me. But like I said, you know, the assault on Landau, when you see all the assault derricks, you see, you know, the gears drilling into the hollow, gearing up during Prescott's speech as well. It's got E-Day has to be like 10 times, 100 times bigger than that moment. I'd say 10 times bigger. I need Ty to be in the campaign. Maybe some cameos from Gears like Min, Hoffman, Bernie, Alicia, etc. would be cool. Anything UIR would be great too. Yeah, I think we've touched on a lot of that before. A last stand like the final mission in Halo Reach. General Ram. Yes, sir. Well, how will he appear? We don't know. Will it be through some cutscenes showing the devastation on E-Day? Will Marcus and Dom encounter him? I don't know. Only time will tell, but would love to see something Ram related for sure. So guys, I'm doing my second recording now because I cannot go through all hundreds of these comments in one recording. Otherwise, I just lose my voice. And yeah, that'll be tough. So it says 3 days ago now, and there's like 240 more likes and loads more comments, but it's actually messed up my order. But I can kind of see it from 3 days ago. So what's more recent, because there's been a lot more new comments as well. So we've answered these ones. Okay, this one's, I don't. Okay, I need Ty to be in the campaign. Yeah, we've discussed that. Maybe some cameos from Gears like Min, Hoffman, Bernie, Alicia, etc. Would be cool. Anything UIR would be great too. Yeah, so we've discussed that. The horror aspect where you have to sneak sometimes to avoid large groups of locust. Yeah, that's interesting. Yeah, that'd be very good actually. Or choices of saving civilians or fellow Gears. Yeah, you're gonna have to make some tough choices in E-Day, as you know. Yeah, definitely, it's a good point. Off topic though, I'd love a game where you could pilot a King Raven. Okay, interesting. I've never seen someone say that before, so imagine that. I don't know how that would work. Wait, imagine in Overrun or like a war mode where someone on the COG team can actually be the pilot in the King Raven. Like, you know, if it's spawned in somewhere. This one, yeah, I've answered already. This one I've answered. One of my favorite things. Yeah, one of my favorite things I would love back in Gears of War is the Gears of War 3 War Journal. Yes, definitely. And its medal system, yeah. Same with its progression system and unlockable characters from the story simply by leveling up, or doing challenges for skins, or even old Gears achievements or for weapon skins. Yeah, definitely I agree with this one, because the War Journal in Gears 2 and 3 was excellent. It would just keep you going. The medal system in Gears 3 was amazing because, you know, it was just an incentive for you to just, you know, crack on with different medals that you like. It was fun because players want that nowadays. Like, you know, in Gears 1 and 2 days, I feel like people will just carry on playing just because the game's fun. And some gamers might do that still, but a lot of people nowadays, they want an incentive as well, which is not a bad thing necessarily, but, you know, just have a war journal, have a medal system that they can actually, you know, track their stats, and, you know, whether it's 500 Hammerburst kills, 1,000 Nasher kills, and you can unlock like a very rare skin. It might be like, imagine like Apostate, you know, Crimson Scourge skin. If you get 1,000 kills, 1,000 Nasher kills as Ty, and you unlock this rare Scourge skin, for instance. You know, stuff like that. So I think people would really love that and would appreciate that and be able to track their stats alongside doing that. And challenges and things like that. So yeah, great point there. I want to see a reverse horde mode where you play as Locust, fending off waves of COG and multiple vehicles they own, or beast mode returning. A Dominique skin for multiplayer. Okay. Okay, so play as the Locust, fending off waves of COG attacking. I mean, the cog, you're not got much enemy variety there, but obviously they got the vehicles and stuff. But the locusts wouldn't really sit back, would they? They're more in like an attacking sense, so I don't know how that would work. Or beast mode returning once again, beast mode. I mean, Dominique's can. I don't know what you mean by that, because what? I mean, I don't know. I want them to bring that gritty feeling back that was so prevalent in the original trilogy. It really made me love Gears. Of course, they need that back, and hopefully they're going off that based off what we've heard in the interview and trailer as well. What I want to see is the entire events of the books during E-Day. The Coalition doesn't need to add more or retcon anything, just follow the books. Yeah, there's just so much source material in the books that you can... They can follow it, obviously. Yeah, but there's a lot of untapped potential as well, so I don't really want them to just fully follow the books. There's a lot more to go off as well, to be honest. And some stories they might want to explore in the animated series or DLCs and stuff, so yeah. As long as it feels like Gears of War and not Gears of Woke. I mean, you could probably say this in a more constructive way, probably, but I mean, Gears of War is just, you know, badass men and women just chainsawing locusts, men that are freaking built like Ronnie Coleman, like, you know, given that 1970s Predator vibe, the way they're built, like pumped with steroids, like that's how they seem, and they're hyper masculine. They're just beasts, all of them, and that's how you're gonna take on the Locust. Because the way Epic Games, you know, they wanted the COG characters to feel as cool as the Locust, and just keep it simple to that. Obviously, you don't need to push any, you know, any sort of agenda or like, oh, we gotta have this type of character to check this tick box. Obviously, if you know the lore, like I've seen some YouTube videos, I don't know who made it now, but he's basically saying, oh, people can fly on Gears of War, it's gonna be woke now, this and that. Listen, Gears of War was always diverse. Look at Delta Squad. Look at Delta Squad right now, okay. Marcus Phoenix, okay, bad. Them, both of them are white. Then you Dominic Santiago, okay, Hispanic. Coltrane, African American. But all four of them, they're very different. It's a diverse group, and they're the best of groups. And then you got someone like Ty Kaliso, who's someone in the series who actually represents some form of religion. None of the characters actually represent any form of religion. Then you got like a stranded, rough, you know, character like Dizzy. You got like a different background again. You've got and look at the females, for instance. Anya, you got Sam, you got Alicia Valera, you got Sophia Hendrick, you've got Alex Brand, who's not your typical sort of female. Yeah, like even Dom, she had a helmet on in the comics, and even Dom thought she was a, you know, a male soldier because she was kicking ass and like a male soldier would, and you know, you wouldn't really expect that, you know, in the Gears universe. And she took off a helmet, and Dom was like, "Whoa, that's a girl," and she was as tough as like any of the male Gears. So Gears always had this, and obviously, and the people behind Gears 4 and 5, a lot of those people, they didn't understand Gears. They just tried to force the Kate agenda, saying, you know, Kate, she's a tough woman in this male-dominated world of Gears of War, when that was never the case. They tried to force an agenda that wasn't even there. Look at the Locust Horde. They are governed. Their boss is a matriarch, Locust Queen Mira. A female that bosses around 10-foot generals like Ram, like they're puny, like you know. It's always had a diverse cast of characters, and just keep it simple, keep it, like I don't know, what else to say to you, to be honest. Like, when people play a game, they shouldn't think, oh, this character doesn't represent me, I'm not gonna play. Look at me. Okay. No one in Delta Squad represents me, like my ethnicity. Obviously, I'm brown, Dom's brown, but none of their backgrounds represent me. None of their religions represent me. None of them are British, for instance. They don't represent me. But I don't give a fuck. I'm that Chainsaw Locust. The Locust Grenadier represents me. I look up to the Locust Grenadier in terms of gym physique. But like, we don't give a fuck. We just want to, we just want Chainsaw Locust. We want to freaking, use the Nasher. We want to kick ass. We want amazing storytelling. That's what it's about. Yeah, so I don't know what more I can add to that one, to be honest. Yeah, keep it simple, make an amazing story. You've got an amazing cast of characters right there. You don't need to force any sort of agenda or anything. Gears of War is always diverse. It's always got a diverse cast of characters. I'll just leave it at that. What else can I say? Customizable cog gear, moving multiplayer objectives, like the cogs defending a building and the grubs have to push up and take it. Yeah, okay. Voice lines that really emphasize how confused and scared everyone was, so in terms of the campaign. Moving multiplayer objectives or the way you describe it, I agree, and it sounds like what I wrote on my comment. Definitely would love that. Voice lines, some will see off or won't think much of it, maybe appreciate it, but will make the game stand out and immersive. Yeah, obviously the voice acting and just little voice lines from civilians and stuff goes a long way in, building the world and the immersion. Customizable cog gear for, is that for multiplayer? I think I've voiced my concern about that already. I understand why people want it. Moving multiplayer objectives, this is very good because obviously it doesn't have to just be standard. King of the Hill, like a ring that's moving, you could do so much with that actually ties in with the universe as well. That's a really good point there. Yeah, well done for that one. This one I've answered this one already. A good gritty campaign. Yeah. Horde mode with classic Horde at launch. Yeah, of course, you need some complete features. Unlike Gears 5, which launched with very bare bones content and modes. And Beast mode, honestly, that would be cool. Beast mode again. Man, you guys don't play around. You love Beast mode. I think that's also because not many people played Gears Judgment, so some people don't know about Overrun. And a lot of people loved Beast mode, so obviously Gears 3 was a mainline game. So I think that's also the reason why. Carmine's as far, yeah, we've read this one already. I really do want a Band of Brothers vibe, but also very intense and dark atmospheric campaign. Yep. And hope to God this campaign is at least more than 30 hours because there's so much to cover in Gears, especially during E-Day. I very much agree. Band of Brothers vibe. It is brothers to the end. That's what Gears of War is about. So keep it to that. Marcus and Dom, brothers to the end. You know how it is. Very intense, dark, atmospheric. I agree. Would be nice to see the series evolve from linear levels to sandbox missions. This way, better scope and scale, plus a great story, then I'm happy. I just want an ambitious, varied adventure that best utilizes new and old gameplay mechanics. Now then, new and old gameplay mechanics. I do think they're going to have some newer gameplay mechanics in there. Like we kind of saw in the trailer. I think that was a little tease to that. In terms of linear levels to sandbox missions, I think Gears 5 kind of showed that. I don't think Gears suits the open world aspect, or even limited open world aspect. So I think E-Day will be more linear. I think they did confirm this as well, actually. Yeah, it will be more linear, I believe, but obviously it doesn't have to be like a very small confined area, right? It can do it in such a great way. And obviously great story, of course, but you do want it to be ambitious, right? But kind of stick to the Gears of War themes, but you can be ambitious at the same time, right? Also, another point that I wanted to add to that woke comment is that, like in Gears 4 and 5, they kind of force the agenda of Kate. you know, Kate, you know, she's this outsider. She's not got much military experience at all. And she's just there bossing Marcus Phoenix, of all people, around saying, in Gears 4, saying, you know, we're going to find my mother, and, you know, just discarding Marcus Phoenix like he's freaking nothing. You know who you're talking to. And in JD, she's, you know, disrespecting an officer that's higher ranking than her. You can't do that. You know, you can't do that and just run off to your own mission. And, you know, they just forced this for no reason. And like I said, Gears of War was never that. But like I said, there were strong female characters in the Gears universe anyway, like Anya, for instance, or the Locust Queen Mira. You know, so that was just forced. And that's a big reason why people just... It wasn't natural at all. You just shoehorned it in for nothing. And many people didn't like that, including myself. So... yeah, I just remembered that point right there that I wanted to talk about. Go back to Gears of War 3 in terms of multiplayer modes, content and progression, and Gears of War 4 for overall gameplay. If they have a Gears of War 2 type of story also, then that'll make it a complete package right there. Interesting. So he kind of wants like a mixed bag of, you know, Gears 2, 3 and 4. But, Gears of War 3 in terms of multiplayer modes, they can do a lot better. And me personally, I don't really want TDM in there. I want it for traditional multiplayer. I kind of want, you know, I don't want TDM in there anyway. I want, you know, Guardian and stuff and Wingman, but maybe a bigger version of Wingman, like 10-15 teams. Content, obviously you can have way more content than Gears 3. Progression, I do agree with you there. Gears of War 4 for overall gameplay. Well, Gears 4 gameplay was built off Gears of War 3's, you know, gameplay. Or like they changed the balancing and everything. So I don't think it will be like that, to be honest. I really don't think it's going to be like that, but we'll see. I don't know, it's going to feel so different. Like this is a game that's going to come out, you know, almost 10 years after Gears of War 4. Freaking hell. And how many years after Gears of War 3? Like 14, 15 years later. It's going to feel very, very different and fluid, and it's going to be different. But yeah, if they have a Gears of War 2 type of story, it'll be, yeah, man. Like I said, Gears of War 2 is the epitome. It is the, you know, the ultimate Gears campaign, in my opinion. So yeah, you do need a campaign like Gears of War 2 for sure, but even bigger set pieces and that bigger fight feel to it, because it's E-Day, right? Read this one already. Tons of enemies. Yeah, I think I've read this one. Yep, read this one as well. Need Carmine. Yep, read that. Here we go. I want an Onyx Guard Carmine. Imagine. That'd be interesting. And a nice little Scourge and Ram cameo with another new Locust being the main villain. Oh, okay. We're talking Locust villains now. Imagine, like, yeah, there can always be like a Locust captain or a Locust lieutenant, or like even like just a very high ranking Locust that's not Ram Scourge, not at that level, but maybe like just under like Khan's level. Like, you know, Locust captain like Jamad, that Locust could be a force in his own right. He's a very, very different type of Locust, but he's like more like a mini boss. You can have mini bosses in Gears of War E-Day, right? So that'd be very cool. Yeah, I wonder what the Onyx Guard were up to on E-Day, so that'd be very interesting. I read this comment about Horde. Yeah, we've read this about Lancer Mark II. There we go. Haven't heard anyone else say it, but Guardian is the best game mode Gears ever did. Hope they bring back some of the maps from the trilogy. Yeah, Guardian is such a Gears-based multiplayer mode. Yeah, I agree, man. So like brilliant. Both it and execution define what Gears of War is to me. Okay, so man, Gears 2 ranked Guardian for me is the goal. Guardian on Pavilion, River, Jacinto of all maps, Avalanche, you name it. And Guardian like can be taken up another level as well. Like for instance, imagine you're the Locust team and you're Ram, so you're the leader, but you're a leader that can freaking, you're an offensive leader, and the cog can trying to take you down. But the cog's leader has to be more defensive. Basically, what I'm saying is, over on 2.0 or in war mode, can have modes within it like Guardian. You see what I'm getting at? So I think I'm cooking here. I think I'm cooking. Hang on. So like, let's say if it's 20 versus 20 or 10 versus 10. And it's basically Guardian, but obviously you've got vehicles, you've got Locust creatures, and like you might have traditional Guardian, like for traditional multiplayer, 5v5, whatever you want. But for Overrun, there might be a huge scale Guardian mode, because if you're doing Overrun or whatever, you need objectives, right? It can't just be destroy the generator or something. You need something a bit better than that as well. So maybe a bit of Guardian. How about that? That'd be interesting. So that's me cooking there, I think. Yeah, I've read this comment. I read that one as well. Gritty realism. Yep. Scary menu music. This is a big one. Scary menu music, because in Gears of War 1 and 2, a little bit Gears 3, nah, probably not Gears 3 to be honest, but Gears of War 1 and 2, the menu music, the main menu just hit you straight away. Now if I load up the original Gears of War, straight away bang, the Crimson Omen hits you in the face, and you look like it's so different straight away. The main menu screen, it just kind of symbolizes what this game is all about. Even the obviously the main menu theme song as well, and there's so much weight. Look to the options. There's so much weight behind it, even in the main menu. This is what Gears of War was all about. Straight away, like a new player of Gears of War would understand what this game is all about. Even if I go on the options menu, right, on let's say audio, sound effects, you know what I mean? Like, nice.
Okay, let's move out. Let's move out. Hey, hey.
Nice.
Oh, yeah. On my way.
So, you know, this is what it was all about. And obviously later games lost this. I think it was mainly in Gears of War 1 and 2, to be honest. Bring that back in Gears of War E-Day. Now even on Gears of War 2, bang, you load in, it hits you straight in the face. Crimson Omen. I believe this is even better than Gears of War 1 in terms of the main menu screen. You see the destroyed beauty in the back. The Crimson Omen actually is like moving more. And man, it's just the whole, so much aura. And mainly in Gears of War 1 and 2. I don't think Gears of War 3 had that same feel with the main menu screen. Yeah, bring that back for E-Day. Bring weight to the main menu. Nowadays, like the UI in games isn't that great, so hopefully, you know, we have like an authentic rough user interface, like rough looking like this. So yeah, bring that back, and yeah, I would love to see that. Whereas in Gears 5 and 4 and whatever, the menu's too clean, it's too there's not much weight to it, because even like Gears of War was such a game that even the menu had, even the options menu had so much weight to it. And obviously the menu is the first thing someone sees when they, you know, load up the game. A new player for the first time, they load up Gears of War. What is this game? Gears of War E-Day, I've heard some good stuff about this game. What is it? They load it up, bang. Crimson Omen hits you in the face. Background of, like, the menu can be a bit dynamic, of like corpses emerging in the background, or whatever kind of background you want, like that type of background, like destruction, destroyed beauty. Yeah, you need something like that. You need a proper main menu with proper menu music, and man, that would hit different. We read this comment here. Overrun, yeah, we read that. General Ram, yeah, I think we read that as well, but if we haven't, well, that's pretty easy. Bring back the war, I think we've read this one. Yep, we read that one. Full custom character, I think we read this one as well. Or if we haven't, I've kind of addressed this already. Papa Carmine read this one. New mechanics like moving a car for better coverage like in Gears of War 1. Yeah, I very much agree. I do really agree with that. But it can be way better than that. Way better than that. Dual wield pistols. Oh yeah, man. That's such a great idea. Of course, I would love that. Why not? Why can't we? I don't see why not. Man, dual wielding Boltox, man. Oh, that would be amazing. So that's a sick idea, like, I would love that. A map change that affects the gameplay multiplayer. Example, shooting a wall now leaves you open or gives you an advantage. This could work, but you have to be very careful with how you do it, because like, if you're playing multiplayer, because Gears of War is all about cover, and if everyone was just shooting the cover, it's like, you know, what's the point then? Like, what are you doing then? You know, it's a cover-based multiplayer, so it's like, if all the cover is just going to disintegrate, then it kind of defeats the purpose. So you got to be very careful. I think maybe something like, you know, over time the map, you see the destruction in the map, and if there's so much damage to buildings and stuff, then you really see like the building falling apart and stuff, or not like you empty one clip into a piece of cover and it's disintegrated. You know, something like that. So this is exactly what I've been saying. I want more destruction during battles, and not just in campaign but multiplayer also. I want multiplayer map environments to be reactive to what you do to them, so the map will look more destroyed and ravaged by end of the match. Yeah, I agree with that. I also think it'd be a good idea to be able to push or kick cover and crush enemies that are hiding behind them. Imagine that. I mean, they should definitely play around with it. I'm just kind of saying it off the top of my head. I mean, some good ideas. Like, I do want the map to be destroyed over time. Like, I remember I was playing Gears 2 Ranked Guardian not long ago, and like, even as the match progressed, like, I saw like a lot of destruction on the map, like blood trails and bodies. Obviously, they did despawn and stuff, but like, you did see a lot of destruction on the map, and you don't see that in like Gears 5 or whatever. So I wanted like Gears 2, but way more than that. Like, but nothing too far. But that's my opinion. Obviously, I do want them to play around with it based on what you guys are saying as well. And on Unreal Engine 5, that would look insane. I've read this comment. Probably Beast Mode. I do like that game mode a lot. Beast Mode again. I just want to see it not turn woke and be hardcore and shocking again. I mean, we've addressed this already. Obviously, these are the concerns, right, of the community. So I'm saying all the concerns of the community. I'm going through everything. I'm not sugarcoating anything. You know, saying it how it is. I would love to see more RAM, so we want more people seeing RAM as well. I want the horror aspect to return. I could imagine some killer night sections having you dodge Krill while fighting Locust. God damn. That's the thing. You're gonna have the Krill returning in E-Day, and when the Krill are there, it just adds another layer of horror that was only there in Gears 1, because obviously they died after that, pretty much at the end of Gears 1. So even though there was a lot of horror in Gears 2, the Krill in Gears 1 just, they hit different. So that's going to be juicy. Wingman and Beast Mode. Fellow Wingman enjoyers, rejoice. Well, hopefully we'll rejoice. Yeah, we need Wingman. Simple as that. But I want a bigger version. You know, 5 teams. Nah. Even Gears 3 had 4 teams. Like, what was that about? I want 10, 15, 20 teams, man. I don't know about you, but and even a traditional Wingman mode, but I want that. More lore about local society and religion, and also expand more on the UIR lore. In general, I hope we get more. I hope we get more lore on factions other than the COG. Yeah, we've addressed this already. There should be a customization for what you want in Horde, as in like species, but I'd be happy with just Locust, honestly. Yeah. Like, more customization for private Horde, or even maybe searching for it, but you don't want to restrict the player base too much, like in terms of match options. You're gonna, there's too many options there to search for things. But like if they're able to do a swarm and DBs mode, I mean, like for people to add that in customization, if they want that, then if it doesn't take up too much resources, then they could do it. But I don't know. Well, if you're choosing species and how you want it, how you want to customize it in private matches and stuff, that'd be really cool. Like we discussed earlier. Back to basics, it has to be like Gears of War 1. It is true because EA, they kind of just went back to the drawing board and went back to the roots. What makes Gears of War great? About brotherhood, it's about horror aspects, elements, it's about desperation, that military feel. They are going back to the basics, but I get what you're saying here. Because even Gears 3, it's had a lot of the elements, but it strayed away from a lot of things. Number 1, I want to see Berserkers make a return, although unlikely because apparently Marcus and Dom haven't encountered one in the 10 to 14 years they've been fighting the Locust. Yeah, like I said, after thinking about it, I'm like, hang on a minute, how have they not encountered a Berserker all those years? So it doesn't make sense. I feel like just in Gears 1, just say it as if Baird is just, explaining for no reason. Well, not no reason, but Marcus just had to get up to speed again. Because it's not as if Dom asked, did he? So, yeah, I'd probably go for that and actually have Berserkers in E-Day. Number 2, not in E-Day itself, but I would like to see a remastered collection of the previous games launch alongside it for the latest consoles. Alongside it, okay. Interesting. I mean, the remastered collection, I could go on about that all day long. But we're not going to really open up that kind of worms in this video because once I start, I won't stop. But yeah, there better be a Carmine or we riot. Yes, we will. Definitely the camos and characters for playing Gears 1 and 2 and like Gears 3, the gold and chrome skin. That would be interesting, Yeah, rewards for those long-time fans. That would be epic. Good thinking. Good thinking. Like, people who played Gears 1, and if you had this in Gears 1, we'll give it you in E-Day. Or, Gears 2, if you were like a level 100 in that game or whatever, you can have this skin in E-Day. Because that would also incentivize people to go back to the older games as well. So that, people will go back to those games anyway, but yeah, that's really good. You're cooking. Alongside some of my ideas as well. This is why I like just adding on to some of your ideas, because like, that's good, man. Simple, the great that made me love, yeah, we read this one. Pendulum Wars Prologue, just like in Gears 4. Yeah, of course, because E-Day is about Marcus and Dom and their brotherhood, and obviously just before that, Dom's brother Carlos died in the Pendulum Wars during the Battle of Asphalt Fields. So it's good to have a bit of a prologue before E-Day itself, just to show, what is this planet about? What is the Cog all about? What's been happening in Osira? And also, obviously, a bit of Marcus and Dom's backstory as well. So, Pendulum Wars Prologue, that's very much needed, in my opinion. And of course, yeah, well said. Branching paths like in Gears of War 1, where you take one way and Dom takes another. Yeah. That's old school, yeah. Competitive game modes with competitive maps and competitive rewards like what we had with Gears 4. Man. I mean, I don't really want map specific for competitive, and I wasn't a big fan of escalation. Nah, not for me. And competitive rewards, yeah, but I think that would just come out of it naturally, like especially with esports. I'm sure someone will say esports, but do not develop the game with esports in mind. Make a freaking fun game, yeah. And if people want to get competitive with the gameplay, an esports scene will naturally sprout out of it. Do not force it down our throats. Don't, tune the Nasher and, don't create another inverse omen because pro, like, you know, Gears pros or whatever are saying, you know, we don't like this classical Omen health. Give us something else because we can't see when we're lancering. So make a freaking good game, and a competitive scene will naturally come out of that. And then obviously, if you want to support that, then obviously go ahead and support that. But do not develop the game with that in mind, because it's not going to work. And Gears 4 and 5 are prime examples of that. You know, it divided the community a lot. So yeah. A campaign DLC that brings the rise of RAM comics to life. After all, it is E-Day. Yeah, obviously we do need that Locust DLC or whatever it is. The Rise of RAM comics is a lot of dialogue though. There's not much, like, you know, there's not much battle there apart from like the beginning few pages and then the attack on the Temple of the Trinity and just the last bit at the end where they attack on E-Day. So obviously they can do more with that. You know, that was just a bit of backstory. Amazing comics, my favorite, to be honest, in the Gears universe. But they can do way more than that. Like, Rise of RAM comics is not the be-all and end-all with the Locust. There's so much untapped potential there. I can talk about it all day long. So they can do more with the Locust DLC than that. I wouldn't mind a little weapon customization like in Gears Tactics. Not a bad idea to be honest, Armor 2. Yeah, we kind of discussed this earlier, didn't we? I know this is highly unpopular opinion, but pre-nerfed Gears of War 3 Sword-Off Shotgun and OP smoke grenades. Pre-nerfed Gears 3 Shotgun? What are you on? No. No, but seriously, but man, I know what type of player you are. Damn you. I don't know. I don't think people want that, to be honest with you. And I know you understand that it's highly unpopular. Anya Stroud. Yeah, I think she'll be there any day. A Last Stand, like the final mission in Halo. I think we've read this one already. A reverse easy mode where the first levels are really hard but gets easier the more the characters learn about the Locust. Yeah, because I think, yeah, that's what I feel E-Day will be about. Like, not as if it'll get easier, but it'll become more sort of manageable in terms of survival. Like at the start when E-Day, it's all about survival, but as it progresses, it's more like, you know, we're in war. Like us Gears, we can't survive, but we gotta adapt. We gotta, you know, these aren't the indies. We gotta adapt our tactics, and those who don't adapt, they perish. You know, like for instance, Loomis. For instance, you know, he died shortly after Gears Judgment because he didn't adapt. He was just stuck in that Pendulum Wars mindset. So, you know, yeah, I see what you're getting at. I do agree. But like I said, I don't want it to get easier. I want it to get a little bit more manageable, you can say, but still really tough, obviously. Yeah. Pendulum Wars prologue again, yep, with Carlos Santiago and Young Tai. I want the return of Overrun as a large-scale war mode. Overrun again, and maybe even a few 5v5 variants of it that could put this style of gameplay twist on traditional game modes. Yeah, I mean, you could have a 5v5 Overrun mode as well. I mean, I don't see what's the issue with that. What I do wonder is, you know, like Marvel Rivals or Overwatch, for instance, I wonder if Gears would ever do a mode like that where, you know, both teams can just choose from anything. Like COG and Locust, and the other team has COG and Locust as well. Obviously, it's non-canon anyway, but multiplayer. It would get a bit messy. But, like, I really do wonder if they would ever do that. You know, let's say, you know, it's 5v5, 6v6, and the one team obviously you might have a Kansas and a Lambent, Drudge, and, you know, Clayton Carmine and whoever else, and the other team, they've got a different setup. Obviously, it's non-canon, but, you know, both teams are even in that sense. Or it might be one team's the Locust, one team's the Lambent, for instance, and that's Overrun. So yeah, I discussed that in my one of my videos as well. There's a lot they can do, man. Like, the Gears universe is so amazing that you can do so much with it in terms of multiplayer. obviously, like, you know, I don't want to talk battle royale because looking back, I don't really want that anymore. Unless it's a very small mini BR, like it's like, you know, 15, 20 teams, like Wingman style, something like that. And there's like a Krill storm closing in, and that's your storm, basically. So, like, the Gears universe is so amazing that you can do so much with it. Other IPs don't have this luxury. You know, the Gears IP and universe is freaking amazing. Make the most out of it for multiplayer. It's not just about 5v5, 4v4 execution. Obviously, that was great in its time, but it's 2025. You know, if the Gears collection is real, you can have that stuff in there. But in E-Day, have some traditional multiplayer mode and, you know, stuff like modes and stuff like that. But freaking get creative with it. Use the amazing universe at your disposal. Be ambitious, but stick to the Gears of War themes and ideas. Come on, and stick to the lore. Well, you don't have to stick to the lore, but use the universe. Beast mode, again. I want to see a conclusion to the new Gears trilogy. I don't, but I'm glad you do. I respect your opinion, but obviously that ain't happening in E-Day. And also the space stuff, what's his face mentioned. Rod Ferguson mentioned that, and obviously that's Gear 6 or whatever. Whenever that's coming, that's got nothing to do with E-Day anyway. 3-player co-op offline multiplayer. I mean, yeah, they should have that. I mean, they need to have that for those that want it. Good story, great characters, and on DEI crap and no influence from Sweet Baby Inc. Good story, great characters, that's a given. We want that, we need that. And this just kind of ties into what we discussed about all the woke stuff. Obviously, I believe Sweet Baby Inc. is a company that's influencing a lot of Western gaming companies. Obviously, I don't think you see like Japanese or Chinese developers being clients of any of these companies that want game developers to actually have some sort of political themes or whatever in, like, you know, or forced diversity in their games. So I wonder why that might be. But yeah, I think we've basically touched on this anyway. So yeah. A fourth Carmine brother, but in serious, I like Horde to return. I would love for Overrun to return. Overrun again, man. Like, if any developers are watching this, or even just any developers that are paying attention, hopefully TC are actually paying attention to the community during this time. I don't know, or even some of my videos, but people want to see Overrun. Bring it back, because the community want to see it, and it's amazing what you can do with that. Horde obviously should return, right? I mean, it has to. It's a pillar now for Gears of War since Gears 2. And a fourth Carmine brother, obviously D Carmine was younger than Clayton, so it was going to be difficult to see him in, but obviously, like I said, Carmine for sure. Some hope that the past can be upheld, that all once great franchises have not withered the husky rags that once were upon proud flesh and muscle. Okay, I like what you're saying here. That knowledge of the once past still exists. So in essence, honestly, like, everything from the past, build upon that again. You know, go back to, you know, the magic of the franchise, the roots of where it all began. E-Day is showing a lot of hope based off, you know, what we saw in the trailer, the gore, the Brothers to the End theme, the Mad World little notes, and obviously the things that the developers said in the interview. Obviously Gears 4 and 5 did not have that at all. You need to remember this. So the fact that E-Day is showing promise of that already is a great sign. Yeah. So beast mode again. Damn. You want to see beast mode as well. And beast mode and Overrun can both exist. Right, obviously you don't want to split the player base too much, but if you've got PlayStation players in there as well, if you've got PC players in there as well, you've got a freaking beastly population. Alright, so but beast mode can be like, you know, but people just have fun with that. Obviously it might not have replayability like Overrun does, but people do want to see it back. Yeah, so I don't know, like, if you just want to have beast mode as like, I mean, you only need 4 or 5 players anyway, you know, it's not really going to restrict the population much. Yeah, why not have beast mode in there as well alongside Overrun? Gears of War built in the Battlefield engine with big open conquest maps, 100 versus 100 in glorious Gears of War violent fashion amplified by the Battlefield engine chaos. Hell yes, that's what I've been saying. Okay, maybe a lot less than 100 characters, but it still should have Battlefield's destruction effects on the map so that the game could actually feel like a full-scale war. Only said 100 because 64 versus 64 can still feel oddly empty. Like I said, like, imagine if you have a war mode and they can do so much with it, and like I said, Game Pass, PlayStation, PC, Steam, even if it's on Switch one day, I don't know, Switch 2, I don't know, but man, Gears of War has the universe that they can do this. Like, imagine, like, man, the potentials are just endless. I can go on about this all day long, but obviously, when I say Overrun, I'm talking 10v10, 20 versus 20, but 64 versus 64, they could pull that off, you know, even if it's multi-teams. Cog versus Locust versus Lambent or something. God damn, man, like, so much potential. But like, I sound like a broken record, but E-Day can be the best Gears of War game ever. TC, everything is in your hands. You're sitting on a gold mine. Honestly, you're sitting on a gold mine. Gears of War, you can push Gears of War to the moons of Sarah, like in terms of popularity. Want to see huge orgs being involved and roadmaps and a clear route for esports in the game. Yeah, but like I said, only if it's natural. You don't force esports for the sake of it. And a lot of those organizations, some, you know, they just, people are just there for the money. Like, you know, once Gears is dead and basically, like, there's not much going on, they're out of that scene. You know, they look at what's best for them, in my opinion, anyway. I think they need to cater more for the community, to be honest. I know some esports people won't like that, maybe, but that's my opinion. I'm not here to please everyone, so, you know, there you go. More side main characters, different armor that was shown in comics. Yeah, I agree with that. But personally, I want to be able to create my own gear, at least for multiplayer, so we are going down that route again. Day of the Dead skins, please. Wow, why would you ask for that? I don't know. I hated those skins, they look disgusting. Sorry, I don't mean to shit on that, but Day of the Dead skins, man, like, fair enough, man, fair enough. I really want all the focus to be on the campaign. Just release a whole campaign and then work on multiplayer afterwards. E-Day has an opportunity to have a masterpiece of a campaign, I agree. To capture how devastating E-Day was, how bleak, how hopeless, how horrifying. An opening gameplay scene to life as normal. After a few minutes, the ground starts to shake and the locusts emerge. I can actually picture it the way you're describing this. Not even shooting, just grabbing people and ripping them apart. Shit, imagine that. God damn. Wretches biting off heads, the locusts dismembering people, boomers crushing people underfoot. Damn. I mean, they will focus on multiplayer as well, but I agree with you. It's, like, you know, E-Day has to capture the bleakness and how desperate and hopeless everyone was, how horrifying it was, especially for the civilians. They got slaughtered, man. Clayton in the OG COG armor in a platoon fighting and working hard in the background because he won't be that same pissed off super jacked killer we got to see in Gears 3. I agree. I agree, but obviously for E-Day he's probably too young. And I don't want to keep saying that, but probably it is true. Krill is a got to have low accurate, so no Krill, then it makes no sense. Yeah, I agree. Ram leading the Locust in the hollow against the Lambent. Then killing Uzil Shrek to take lead against the humans. Oh man, that would be juicy to see that again in the actual cutscene format. Like a pre-saying to understand just how powerful the Locust could have been if not fighting 3 wars: infection, Lambent, and humanity. Yeah, like the more I think about it, the more just reading your comments about the Locust's perspective. You know, like the Halo 2 vibe, like style, where, you know, you had aspects of the Covenant playing as them. think we might just need that in E-Day. We might just need that because we need to just see what were the Locusts thinking on E-Day, like, because obviously they were going through so much. They had their own ambitions, and but obviously the COG didn't know that, obviously. So it has to be from the Locust perspective. You probably need that, to be honest. There's just so many perspectives to explore on E-Day. Barrick, Alicia, young Hoffman, maybe. I mean, he wasn't even that young on E-Day, you know? He wasn't middle-aged, really. There is so much as an OG diehard fan. I agree. Honestly, similar campaigns to Gears 3, but the graphics of Gears 5 also multiplayer of Gears 3. I mean, I think it's going to be way more action-packed than Gears 3's campaign. It has to be. Graphics of Gears 5 will probably be better. Also, multiplayer of Gears 3, well, I don't think it will be that, because Gears 3 multiplayer, while it was great, and I was like red prestige on that one, but which is what, the last re-up, it had its issues. And I played it again recently because I wanted to do Gears of War 3 multiplayer gameplay in 2025, and it had its issues, man. Like, I'm getting hammerbursted cross map, hammerburst iron sights cross map on Mercy trenches, Azora, what other map was it? Just so many other maps. People are using the Retro and the Lancer up close, like the shotguns or something. Man, you know, Gears 3 had many issues. Many issues. I prefer Gears 2 template, but more fluid, rebalance it a bit. You know, that for traditional multiplayer. That is the GOAT for me. Gears 2 multiplayer, but, you know, with some tweaks. Campaign DLC with Gears 2 and 3 enemies. Or a Locust campaign in the Hollows. The Locust campaign in the Hollows, that can be like before E-Day, it can be during the Locust War. Like I said, Locust Lambent War in the Hollows, you're talking like 21 years at least worth of timeline to work with. There's so much material there. There's so much potential. And like yeah, even like DLC from Savage Locust perspective, but crap. But yeah, oh man, accidentally clicked off it, but let's try and find that again. Yeah, here we were. So yeah, man, so much potential once again. I keep saying that, don't I? 4-player co-op, I agree. Wall bouncing, yeah, but I want Gears 2 style. Nothing overboard. All maps ever made, that's gonna be difficult. That'll be very difficult. Because some of those maps might be shite, like Pahanu for instance, or like even some Gears 3 maps were terrible. Anyway, no 2-piece combo, free for all, horde, beast, digger weapon. Yeah, digger for multiplayer. Why not, man? That digger was a beast weapon. I loved digger. See what the Carmine family was doing on E-Day. Yeah. Besides surviving and panicking like everyone else on E-Day. Why not? Like I said, we need multiple perspectives. The war between the UIR and COG, the very start of E-Day and the origin of the Lancer Mark II. So Lancer, we've discussed, we will have that origin. So that can fit into a prologue, basically. You know, the war, basically what was Sarah doing during that time. A planet that knows nothing but war, as Prescott said in his speech. So this is the type of world that we're in, right? Anything in Gears franchise exists or not exists, but the Carmine always exists for dying. Yeah, man. That's just how it is. Carmines, they gotta die one way or another. Wingman, for fuck's sake. We do need Wingman. Unlockable characters, yes. Get rid of Escape. I do agree. Escape. I'm out of words for it, but it did not work out. Bring back Beast Mode. Again. So people want Beast Mode. Horror and gore centered like Gears of War 1 and 2. Yeah, we need proper gore like Gears 1 and 2, and horror as well. Decent campaign, not like Gears 5. They shouldn't do Escape since this is E-Day and you are so right. There you go. I would like Beast Mode to make a return. Here we go again. OG Beast Mode from Gears 3 was really fun, but my issue with it was that it lacked any sort of replayability. Yeah, very much agreed there. That was actually true as well. There were only 12 waves of Stranded and Cog that you had to fight through, and only after a few tries I beat the entire mode. After that, there was nothing left to unlock. Yeah, you're right. I think for Beast Mode 2.0, after unlocking normal locusts by earning kills and accumulating cash, you would also be able to unlock variants of those locusts. But rather than earning money and collecting cash to do so, instead you would do it by completing challenges and tasks. For instance, if you unlock a Locust Grenadier with the cash you have, you would be able to unlock different variants that have different abilities, like the Flame Grenadier or Savage Grenadier, using your normal Locust Grenadier to complete challenges in Beast Mode. That's wicked. Well done, man. I really like that, to be honest. I also think they should remove the countdown timer in Beast so that players can focus on what to put on the battlefield and not have to worry about time limitations. And this would also make the mode easier for the casuals, as it is supposed to be a more casual friendly mode. Okay, it could be an option. I don't know. I like the idea of no timer, but the Hammer of Dawn dread feeling is too good. Maybe just an option of no timer. Yeah, I agree with all of this, including no timer. Interesting. So people want to play Beast Mode with no timer just simply because they just want to play with the beasts, like, and just have fun with it, unlock stuff. And just flip and slaughter humans forever or something. You sick bastards. But well done, man. I really love this idea because he just wants challenges. Like, you know, he wants to place the Locust Grenadier, and he's going to be using the Nasher shotgun and the frag grenades and whatever else. And like, you know, as he kills more Stranded and Cog and whatever, you know, he wants to unlock Flame Grenadier, Savage Grenadier, Grenadier Elite, Savage Grenadier Elite, and so on. And the roster for Beast Mode 2.0 would be like, you know, you can unlock them over time, can't you? Like, through the challenges and stuff. I think you're onto something, man, because this would increase the replayability a lot. Why? Because people are going to grind Beast Mode because, let's say they're playing as a Cantus, and you're playing as a Cantus, but you have to slowly, like you're getting kills, racking up kills, and that is the replayability for it. Then you're slowly gonna unlock Savage Cantus, and he's gonna play a little bit differently. And then eventually you're gonna unlock Armored Cantus, and he's a beast. So that would be pretty cool. Ah, man. Well done, man. I gotta applaud you, sir. I don't know. I think you're cooking here. Like, I think this goes hard, this idea. Because, like, if you're playing as a Locust drone, right? A Locust gunner, or like even different Locust drone variants. There's some Locust drone variants like the grapplers or something. They do play the same as a Locust drone, but people might just want to unlock them for Beast Mode, right? But they can unlock them by just getting a certain amount of kills or something as the Locust drone. And, well, they can even unlock Locust drones that play differently to that. For instance, the Locust Sniper. He's got a sniper rifle, a long shot sniper rifle, so he plays very differently. So you might have to unlock him by actually, you know, doing a certain challenge as a Locust drone. That would freaking put the replayability through the roof for Beast Mode, and that is something entirely different to Overrun or something. Whether you have a timer or not, I don't know. Obviously you do want some sort of challenge, right? But some people just feel like they just want like I feel like it's just like a rage mode, like it's like a rage room or something where they just want to kill loads of Cog and have no time limit. But well done. I really like this. I really like this. Hopefully a developer's watching or something, because I think we got something right there. Honestly, I don't know. I don't know about you, but I agree. Yes. Okay. I would like to see the first instance of Krill. Yeah. That'll be cool and devastating to see. It will be also Be cool if they add a nighttime map with Krill for PvP. Yeah, definitely. Well, yeah, they've never really done that. Well, Bullet Marsh, obviously, yeah, they did, but that was kind of, yeah, that was a bit more restricted anyway. It was just in a certain area, but yeah, man. Seeing the Cog and civilians witness the Krill for the first time as the night approaches. What the hell is that? And the Krill would have devoured like millions of people because people didn't know that. Oh, nighttime. These freaking bat-like creatures are gonna come out of nowhere and devour us. What the hell? No one was expecting that. So yeah, definitely, and that would add to the horror element as well. So definitely, good idea there. Okay, this is a long one, so let's see. Wishlist here, so I guess I won't make it. But sounds player friendly. Okay. Battle Pass, please don't. If I did, okay. Should be free and progression earnable, kind of like how MCC does it. It does not expire. Of course, have it options to pay with real money to help the company, but just like Gears 5 where you can earn currencies over time by playing, earning stars, you can use it to unlock character skins, weapon skins. Okay, so this is a separate point. So let me just okay, let me just address this one first. The Battle Pass, I think, Gears 5, obviously the store and the progression system was an absolute joke from launch up until Operation 5, where they revamped it, I believe, was it? Or was it? I think it was Operation 4, I think. Was it? Okay, whatever. It was, it was later on, right? Well, where they introduced Gears coins, and then you could buy characters for 2,000 Gears coins just by playing the game. Or you could buy the Battle Pass if you wanted, or you had earnable free tiers in the Battle Pass as well. And then obviously, I think that was a really good formula, to be honest with you. Wasn't perfect, but I think it was good. You could just grind the game at your own pace and accumulate Gears coins and just buy characters. Obviously, in the Battle Pass, people do want exclusivity as well, so like if I play a Battle Pass in Season 1, me personally, and I earn like a really dope skin from that, then I think that should remain exclusive and not in Season 10 that character comes out again. I don't want that. Yeah, okay, so if they wanna, they can add beast mode later if we can't have it on launch in time. So beast mode again. Definitely horde mode should be there. Of course, keep the option where players can matchmake or private join invite somebody else's campaign mode. Yeah, you do need some sort of like like a lobby browser or something for campaign. Another thing, because random people might want to play campaign together. That's where Brothers to the End might be forged, because people have met amazing friends from Gears of War, and so have I. But that could be one way of doing that, through a campaign. Imagine that, going through E-Day with someone else and you become friends. So yeah. Another thing, maybe a co-op narrative experience for later free DLC that takes place around you, the characters as regular cog, or whatever experiences E-Day during different perspective from the main characters. Like a DLC of a different perspective of E-Day, like if it's a different character or regular cog or whatever. Let's see, I guess ultimately would definitely love a new mode that's permanent, or could be rotational limited time event to make it fresh, attention and maintain numbers without hurting player population from other modes. That's a big scale team versus team with interactive weapon environments, map specific mounted. Heck, I'll doubt it would work with what I'll say next, but okay, with vehicles kind of like Gears of War Halo style of it. That's a stretch. So that's basically what I'm saying, what many people have said as well, with the big team battle mode or whatever you want to call it. If not too crazy, just regular big team versus big team to give the emphasis of war. Yeah, so don't worry, you're not on your own in this one, obviously. But limited time events, that's something I've not really thought of, and you can definitely do that. Because yeah, to just keep it fresh, and it's limited time, so people are going to try it out. But maybe not over something like a big team battle, because you want that kind of permanent, but even if it's like a limited time sort of, I don't know, could be anything. Get creative with it. Maybe a map progression defense objective mode, like Halo Reach Invasion. I didn't really play that, to be honest. The multiplayer in Halo Reach. Star Wars Galactic Assault War mode from Call of Duty, not to be confused with Ground War. Given the emphasis of war, humanity defense against Locust, helping those who just want to have fun, enjoy an objective mode. So basically, like, you progress on the map as you kind of like unlock objectives. You kind of like progress further, basically the team that's advancing. Summary, definitely a war mode and a large scale battle. 2 modes will be refreshing. Beast Horde mode please if possible, but really want a player friendly progression system to earn stuff in game, not just scraps, cheap free stuff, whereas the goodies are behind paywall only. Yeah, like if you're gonna have free stuff in the battle pass or store or whatever, the challenges, there has to be decent stuff, right? You can't just you can't just have the best stuff behind a paywall and the free stuff is just, you know, delivery driver Mac or something. Like, no one, I don't think anyone wants that. Maybe you do, but I don't. And people want a player-friendly progression system, right? You know, that's how you're going to win the fans over, by doing stuff like this. And yeah, I would like to see the introduction of the Lancer, to be honest. Well, yeah, that will happen based off what we've heard and everything. I want to see a DLC where you play as Paddock and the UIR during the Civil Wars they had over launching the hammer on the cog. Interesting. And the start of the Locust Wars where they get wiped out by Khan, with chapters where you play as Khan and the Locust, and the other half as Paddock's squad, in a similar fashion to Ram Shadow DLC from Gears 3. Man, I never thought of this. And this is a really, really good UIR DLC idea. This is freaking brilliant. Paddock's perspective, you know, one aspect in Grozny on E-Day, and one aspect, well, they did have a civil war over the launching of the Hammer of Dawn on the cog. So, yeah, brilliant, brilliant, brilliant. Bring back Beast again. Also, I would like to see the Carmine brothers working together. So this guy corrected him. So, well, you probably won't see Ben at all because he's like 4 years old, basically. He joins 14 years later. But maybe Clay and Anthony. Sadly, I'm not sure Anthony's in the war that early, but would be great to see their banter. Yeah, Anthony won't be there either. He's young as well. Clayton, he won't be there. You gotta have his dad and maybe the dad's brother or something. You know, the Carmine are a massive family. Take advantage of it, right? All the Carmines as playable characters in multiplayer. Another Carmine one. And custom games with bots along with offline progression. Yeah, this is like old school. Like, people do still want this, right? Yeah, even for me, like, obviously, in Gears 1, I just kind of played more, you know, campaign and split screen with my brother and stuff. But Gears 2, where I actually got into it, and when I didn't have Xbox Live, because, you know, we weren't able to always afford that, and, you know, I would play offline with bots, and, you know, I was a kid then, and, you know, I'm sure many people will still want that today. So yeah, you know, I understand that, obviously. Unlocking characters and weapon skins like in Gears 3. Yeah, so once again, that progression system. All the Locust as playable characters in multiplayer, and bring back Beast Mode again. You know, I didn't think Beast Mode was this popular with you guys, but clearly it is, and fair enough. I'm with you, obviously. All the Locust as playable characters in multiplayer, yeah. I want the campaign to have a very serious and dark vibe to it, of course. The online multiplayer to actually have new maps that aren't horribly designed. Okay, let me just talk about this point right here. Yeah, I agree, because Gears 5's maps, the launch ones anyway, were very Lancer based and were not good at all. But later in the lifetime cycle of Gears 5, Nexus, Regency, although it didn't have that Gears look to it, the map played really well in my opinion. I really love Nexus, Tomb, Ephera. Those were great maps in my opinion. But if you go back in time, Gears 2 maps are where it's at. Jacinto, Security, Pavilion, Avalanche, River. But some maps are just designed to play in a certain game. Gridlock Gears 1 was not the same in Gridlock Gears 3. And Gears 5 Gridlock or Gears 4 Gridlock, nah. That was just horrible. But Gridlock Gears 1, you know, that never played the same again in a different Gears game. Same as River. In Gears 2, it was absolutely amazing. But you know, when they added it in Gears 5, they did, you know, sort some aspects of it out. But it didn't really play the same, in my opinion. So you got to be careful with which maps they actually have. But obviously, you're saying new maps that aren't horribly designed. But I'm just saying, use the Gears 2 template in terms of how they actually, like, study how they actually made those maps. In Gears 3, they had some good maps, but not that many great maps, because even in Gears 3 maps, I don't think they hold a candle to Gears 2's maps. I played the multiplayer again recently, and I think the Gears 2 maps are on a whole different level, man. Honestly, the Nashor to not feel like a complete trash like it was in Gears 5. Yeah, but you gotta be a bit more specific on that one. But yeah, let me just add to this point as well. So basically, you know, you want to have a consistent, you know, chunk range, gib range, whatever you want to whatever you want to call it. But like, you know, in Gears 5, the Nashor is like a sword off. You know, the way people play is they don't play for, you know, Gears of War multiplayer was built off fun Nashor battles, like, you know, playing for poke damage and, you know, dancing and strafing and, you know, even bouncing. But in Gears 5, it's not like that. So that's how I want it to be, and I think that's what Gears of War multiplayer, traditional multiplayer, is all about. Make the traditional multiplayer like very high skill ceiling. You know, you have to be good at with the Nashor, with your aim, with moving, overrun and horde and large scale horde. That can be the accessible Gears of War modes, because traditional Gears of War multiplayer will be always kind of be a little bit niche. But if Gears of War, you know, if all this comes to PlayStation, then I think even traditional Gears multiplayer will be very, very populated. So yeah, so that's the Nashor talk right there for now, until I think of anything else. But bring back unlocking characters, weapon skins through leveling up. Yeah, so that's like Gears 3 or whatever, Gears 2. 5v5 or maybe even 6v6 multiplayer. 4-player co-op for the campaign. The list goes on and on. The blueprint should be all Gears of War 1 to 4 combined and almost nothing from Gears 5. I think why people mention Gears 4 as well, because like it was built off Gears 3, you know, a lot of the multiplayer and stuff. Yeah, but a lot of these things we've discussed already. In my opinion, I want to see characters from the comics that weren't in the games. Yeah, we mentioned this. I want more information, lore from the Locust perspective, obviously. Yeah, we've discussed that as well. I want the campaign to be good and very in-depth of how brutal E-Day was. Yeah, of course, that's what we need. Yeah, we've discussed that as well. I want Gears of War E-Day to have a good story, better gunplay where cover and positioning is everything. The Nashor to be good again. Old maps to return that haven't returned. And not just have Blood Drive or replace it with something like Security or Avalanche. New maps. Beast mode. Active reload to increase your gun strength instead of just reloading faster like in Gears 5. And for the game to be good, all round good. Okay, so like, you know, in terms of old maps, you know, they always make Blood Drive return and Gridlock and what else? I mean, Checkout, but that only came in Gears 3, and Checkout is actually a really good map. But if you don't want Checkout as well, that's fair enough. What else do they keep bringing back? The main two culprits are obviously Blood Drive and Gridlock. And there's many maps that they can return again. Obviously Avalanche, yeah, that was in Gears 2 and in Gears 4, I believe. But even Jacinto is in Gears 2 and 3. The Gears 3's version was very different, but I don't want to mind seeing Jacinto in traditional multiplayer in E-Day, or like something like Highway or Ruins, Flood, or even like, let's think now, something like Hail or Stasis or Pavilion. Man, why hasn't Pavilion come back? Why has Pavilion never come back? A good question. So yeah, something like that, yeah. Instead of blood drive and gridlock constantly, man, like, come on, are we not better than this? Bring back beast mode from Gears of War 3, beast mode again, and overrun from Judgment. That's what I want to see. Obviously, they can't include Cold Bear or Berserkers, but it's never been made clear in the first game if it was actually the first time Marcus met Anya. No, Marcus didn't meet Anya for the first time in Gears 1. No, definitely not. Their relationship goes way back, way back. Berserkers, obviously we probably can see them. Colbert, obviously we won't really see him from the campaign, but that's tough, man. That we're not going to be see Colbert, but maybe a DLC or a different perspective or something. I don't know. For Colbert, but then again, obviously Gears Judgment is their story 30 days after E-Day, but you could still have their story. I mean, nah, Gears Judgment kind of messes that bit up, to be honest. I don't know, it's a bit tricky that. Yeah, I've read this one. This is a big one as well. I've always wanted interactive cover in both multiplayer and campaign. The cover system needs to evolve somehow. We've been stuck with Gears 1 cover system for almost 2 decades now. So here's what I think. Okay, we should be able to physically interact with cover by being able to push or kick it out of the way. How will this be useful in the game? Well, if you're crouching behind a big object while an enemy is crouching on the opposite side of it, you can kick the object barrier over by pressing X so that it will fall over and crush the enemy on the other side. Interesting. I mean, it depends what type of cover it is, right? It can't, if it's sandbags or something, like, you know, you can't really do that. I'd also like to see a lot of cover destruction. For instance, when you rapidly shoot at a concrete barrier with a Lancer rifle, it should break into pieces and fragments until whoever or whatever is hiding behind it is exposed. This would also depend on the weapon you are using and the material of cover that you're shooting at. Yeah, so here we go. So if I shoot at a barrier made of sandbags with a boom shot, it should instantly vaporize because of the impact. I think this will be better for campaign. You know, for multiplayer, I feel like it'll be difficult, but I'd love to be proved wrong. I mean, in Gears 2, the cover did kind of break into pieces and fragments, but that was kind of like the sides of the cover. Imagine playing an intense round of multiplayer and leaving a trail of destruction across the map as you fight your enemy, and by the end of the match, the map is almost unrecognizable. Wreckage of the fallen buildings scattered across the landscape while wild flames leap and dance over the ruins. This will truly capture the theme of destroyed beauty, a theme that has been an emphasis in Gears of War since the beginning. Man, I think these additions would help make Gears of War feel like a messy and destructive war, and it would help add a lot of weight to the gameplay. And yeah, imagine like you're having a sweaty, like brilliant multiplayer match, and by the end of the match, the map is unrecognizable. I mean, it depends how far you want to go with the destruction. Obviously, you know, if you want to keep that blood, you know, and the bodies and stuff like that, and not allow the bodies to despawn and stuff, and like, you know, the blood and the explosions and things like that, then that would be great. If the covers fully are destroyed, I don't know about that. I don't know, like, I'd love to be proved wrong. Well, like, even Gears 2, the way you could, like, you know, bits of cover would come off and, you know, get destroyed by explosions and stuff like that as well. So yeah, definitely understand where you're getting at here, because that would definitely make Gears of War feel like messy and destructive. It would add a lot to the weight of the gameplay, for sure, yeah. Great points. They actually had destroyable cover piece by piece in Gears 2, sadly not anymore. It was destroyable, but not very much, or at least not to the point where you could completely destroy it to see your opponent on the other side of it. Yeah, that's what I was saying, basically. Yeah, that's fair. It would be awesome to add, and maybe walls you can blow up, especially for E-Day. Imagine a Battlefield 1 style Gears of War game. That's what I want for Gears of War E-Day to be. Just more and more destruction like those Battlefield games. It will be perfect because that's what E-Day was. So people want destruction as well, and so much carnage, and like, you know, and on the multiplayer to be able to see the carnage that and chaos that took place in that multiplayer map. Not the match ending and the map is like crystal clear as how the match started basically. Unpopular opinion, okay? I like to see a more competitive scene from the fan base. I mean, we've already kind of tried that many times. Originally Control was King of the Hill, Annex now Control, and it still turns into an Asher fight, way less brain power. More about bounce, shoot if you will. I'd rather see a mode like Small Hill Control with the different ring placements and rotations that are completely random. I mean, you're kind of saying escalation, but like a bit more random, right? Kind of like, well, it's like Hardpoint, but you got multiple rings. Well, like Domination, but it's a bit more randomized, I guess. A DLC similar to Ram Shadow where you kill Srok and fight the Lambent, then eventually see E-Day through his perspective. Bruh, that'd be awesome as heck, man. I know it depends on the coalition, but personally would love to see that in some form through gameplay at some point if they could. So, obviously when Ram killed Srok, with the help of Therons, obviously, you know, he led the charge on E-Day. So did he go back into the Hollow to fight the Lambent? I doubt it, because, you know, he took the fight to humanity. But maybe Scourge went back into the Hollow and led the Cantus and those locusts that stayed behind to defend Nexus and everything. Maybe Scourge just led them. So maybe you can play a Scourge in that DLC. Imagine playing a Scourge, like you got Gorgon pistol, maybe a Gorgon hammerburst rifle variant that he had in the comics. In grenades, the ability to heal and chant and summon tickers, and freaking chainsaw staff as well. Oof. So man, that would be juicy as well. Oh man, yeah, Locust. When I just think of Locust, like DLC or whatever, there's just so much potential. Like, I want to see devs that don't go radio silent for years. Prescott, our company. Yeah, I mean, I guess it was for a reason, because they stopped launch for they stopped support for Gears 5. So what did you really want them to do? I mean, they should have left Gears 5 in a better state, in my opinion, and you know, left the community. They should have left the community in a better state for sure. But they have to make it up to us now, right? And they need amazing communication from the community manager or during Gears of War E-Day's game cycle and beyond. They need to understand the fans and not, you know, be arrogant, and just take on board feedback in a constructive way. Obviously, some people and some fans get overly passionate, which I understand, but you know, and might, you know, name call or, you know, swear and threaten the developers, which is never right. You don't do that, obviously. So, you know, it takes two to tango, right? The community needs to work, you know, and be constructive, and the developers need to take on board feedback, be humble, like not have an ego, and obviously, you know, understand the fans as well. You know, you're not always going to see eye to eye, but you know, try to understand the fans, and yeah, just try your best. Just be genuine and honest with us. I think fans would really appreciate that, honestly. But compared to multiplayer, no sword off. Sorry, just sword off makes me laugh. Old maps brought back. 2v2 Nasha ranked needs to stay. Yeah, true. Beast mode or playable Locust. So I think whether playable Locust, you know, it's obviously beast mode and overrun. So yeah, I want the multiplayer to be great. I want all new maps. So this person doesn't want any returning maps, all new great maps. Let's hope the multiplayer is great, right? Hear me out. They add DLC about Gears investigating disappearances of people, and it turns out to be Locust kidnapping people. Adds a little horror element to Gears. That'll be very, very cool, but I think I can add on to that and tweak that, because obviously there were rumors of on like E-Day and beyond that the Locust took people and kidnapped them. Obviously there wasn't really much evidence. But obviously in Gears of War 2, 14, you know, years later after E-Day, people, you know, even Marcus is confused, saying, "What are the Locusts doing taking prisoners?" And then obviously you see what happened to Ty, and then obviously you see, you know, Chaps tells you that, you know, there's some stranded camps and stuff. Maybe some cog gears or Onyx Guard even are investigating the disappearance of people. Obviously, in the end, they get kidnapped themselves, so that it can never be reported, right? So that would be very like horror-esque and very eerie, and wow, that would be scary. So that'd be interesting. An explanation on how each gear is so buff and strong without availability of food. Well, the rations, high-calorie rations, did go to the gears, but I think we need a bit more explanation than that. We need to know why Marcus and Dom and Cole and Baird and everyone else are so freaking big and huge. But even if there isn't a reason to that, I wouldn't mind. But like, let's say Marcus is getting his ass handed to him in the Gears E-Day trailer, and let's say, you know, that's happening a lot on E-Day, like the Gears are getting their asses handed to them, and what if the cog, I put the Gears through some cycle, you know, I don't know if it's steroid cycle, but some enhancement cycle, so they can actually take the Locusts head on, because these Locusts are freaking 6'7" plus, shredded to the bone, Mr. Universe, super soldiers. How do standard infantry deal with that, right? So I don't know if you want to go down that route of explaining that, or maybe it can just be there without explanation. I don't know. Marcus punching Hoffman. Well, this happened, you know, 10 years after E-Day, so I don't know if that's really going to happen. I don't know. I doubt that. I want the same level of customization and same level of speed that was in Gears 5. And yeah, no, 5 wasn't that great, but I really did love the customization and fast movement in the game. Obviously, the community will be divided on this. Me personally, obviously, I want a more Gears 2 style. But obviously, Gears 5 had a lot of skins. Like, you know, I did look back at it, you know, not too long ago, and there were the amount of skins that are in the game, and customization is huge. Obviously, I don't think blood sprays should be in E-Day. Obviously, they're horrible, man. Who wants to die and just see a toilet or a big pile of poo or something like that? I don't want to see that. Like, I don't know, it doesn't fit Gears. But Gears 5 did have a lot of skins. But Gears 5 and even Gears 4 had a lot of skins, weapon skins, characters. So it had great customization, to be honest. I want to see more COG vehicles, maybe like COG bomber planes doing strafing runs to keep the Locusts down or something like that. More COG vehicles for sure. The COG discontinued planes all the way back in the Pendulum Wars. It was a form of corporate corruption in which the Raven Company essentially bought support for their programs over that of jets and the like. Yeah. So that's true. So I don't know if we're going to see planes, to be honest. Especially with jets and stuff, you didn't see in Gears 1, 2, or 3. Never really been mentioned like that. Yeah, and the law reason is there. So I don't know if you're going to really see planes, but I would love to see more COG vehicles like tanks, you know, assault derricks, different variants of King Ravens, maybe like an earlier, you know, version of it during E-Day's timeline. Even like submarines, ships, and so on, rat bikes. You know, the list goes on. Short campaign after focusing on the world post-war. There were some Locusts left after the war. I disagree with this one because, you know, after Gears 3, when Gears 3 ended, I think that's the perfect ending. It cannot get better than that, right? You know, it makes Adam Phoenix's sacrifice mean nothing. Locust dying from the emotion countermeasure, pointless. It makes Dom's sacrifice pointless. It makes no sense whatsoever. Locust Lambert War, even if it's just a cutscene, yes, I agree. Because even like the Pendulum Wars prologue, if it's from the COG's perspective and Marcus and Dom, etc., what's from the Locust perspective? Why are they emerging in the first place? So yeah, even if it's a cutscene. In E-Day, all I want to see is how UIR joined with the COG to fight the Locust. Yeah, How Paddock met Baird and Cole and why he is the only UIR soldier in the entire cargo. I don't think he is. I don't think he is. How Maria was captured and how she went into hiding in Mount Kadar, as we see in Gears of War 2, as told by Stranded when we go to explore Nexus. Were the Locusts torturing people with lobotomy before the operation of Hollow Storm or during it? Well, they found out in Operation Hollow Storm. That's when they found out, but it must have been way before, to be honest. How Maria was captured. I mean, obviously you have to kind of go through that cycle of Maria first, like, you know, Dom's kids dying, Dom and Maria's kids dying, and obviously Maria's parents and so on. And you kind of show her eventual collapse, you know, as a person and everything, and then, you know, she was captured, and then obviously Dom's freaking out. Yeah, I don't think we're going to get this Paddock stuff, or what you're saying. Sorry to break it to you, but this is going to take place for all these events, bro. There's a small chance that we'll get to see any of that. This game is going to tell a story of how Marcus and Dom became brothers and how the Lancer Assault Rifle was developed. We might finally see Maria and Dom and their kids, but that is only if the game starts off before E-Day or if there's a flashback to before, and then we might see the Locusts kidnap Maria. Yeah, yeah, man, but I think this game is a one-shot for explaining these things. Yeah. We never fought against many Locusts on screen. Well, we kind of did, like in the Assault on Landdown. There were a lot of Locusts on screen, but you were just there with a turret and, like, you know, on the Assault Derrick. But it can be way bigger than that, obviously. That was amazing for Xbox 360 2008, obviously. That was amazing for its time. But like E-Day can be way bigger than that, obviously. Like in the game Space Marine 2, the amount of enemies on screen. Why can't Gears of War do that, obviously? Obviously the Gears are not Space Marines, but you can have an insane amount of Locusts on screen. An insane amount. That would be freaking insane. Like a really huge battlefield where there are many Cog and Locusts fighting around you. It'll be sick. Gotta kill your way through to stop siege weapons, maybe. Like, even if you're, you know, even if you're in a mission and, like, you're taking on Locust in your own, like, sort of linear level, but in the background you see, like, corpses and brumaks and buildings collapsing, and destroyed beauty is happening in real time, you know, as the mission is progressing. You see, like, cog gears and Ravens going down, Derricks getting destroyed. I want a proper Forge mode so I can create my own Gears maps. Finally, yes. Now we're talking. We need a lot of community customization in E-Day for sure, and that will help the longevity of the community as well, and the health of the game. Let's steal that idea from Halo, and let's have a great Forge mode, because even in Gears 5 you promised us a map editor and you flopped it, so let's get a Forge mode in E-Day for sure. I want Chaos, make E-Day fun and chaotic as Judgment's campaign. So yeah, let's have Chaos in E-Day, of course. I hope they keep the knife melee and executions they added in 4 and 5. No, this is supposed to be the true roots of Gears, not the horrible BS Gears games they call 4 and 5. Well, I mean, for the multiplayer it is really good, but for the campaign it might not really make much sense, to be honest, because the Locusts have thick hides, and if the Lancer is an integral part of the campaign, then according to the lore, like, you know, the knife would have to have a lot of brute force behind it, and the Locust hides were very tough, and that's the whole reason why the Lancer chainsaw existed. But the Retro Lancer did work, but only with a specific amount of force or whatever it may have been. But so it would kind of, you know, mess things up a little bit if it's in campaign. But multiplayer, I really like that mechanic, to be honest. You know, jumping over cover onto someone, knifing them. I think it added more fluidity to the multiplayer, in my estimation anyway. A multiplayer game mode and a story mode, well, that's a given. A mode called Hunter, I came up with it. You and your teammates hunt down heroes like Marcus, Dom and others as a sniper, and you have to be very sneaky if they find you you fail or get a one shot or something. Why not a DLC where you have a campaign as a Locust? So another Locust campaign DLC. Wish. Also nice idea for game mode. I mean, I've not heard anyone say this before. Oh, I don't know how it would work. It'd just be like a little stealth mode, isn't it? Like you're just tracking down the gears of Sarah from hunting down heroes. Interesting. Esports. Yeah, we've discussed that really. Jamad. Imagine seeing Jamad in E-Day somewhere. Jamad is very underrated. Great character. A character that's created in the Rise of Rome comics. He's barely there, but he's there enough to be able to like him, to be able to want to see more of him. So yeah. Horde mode that has all enemies from the original trilogy and Judgment. That's what I mean. You know, there's so many enemies to choose from, including bosses like Ram, Scourge, the Krill, Hydra, Tempest, and man, imagine seeing the Riftworm. The hell? You know, there's a lot they can do with that. Even General Khan, the Shibboleth, man, Srark. A good game with few disappointments as possible. Apparently that's too hard to ask for nowadays. It is with the state of the gaming industry nowadays. Apart from some outliers. But yeah, hopefully, because we need this. We deserve this. I want to see the 4th Carmine because we only met 3 in the OG story. I hate to say this, but this might be the only game we may not get a Carmine, only because we're probably going to see one of them in the multiplayer game. Well, actually, we may see Clayton as a recruit, but probably not, since I think he joined later only to avenge his family, but I don't remember. Like I said, the Carmine brothers were really young then, so like I said, the dad or uncle or whatever would be great. I would like to finally make my own gear in multiplayer. We have that again. But like I said, I do have my concerns. I wonder how they can go around that, if they do plan that. But I don't know. Gears Esports again. Wingman, true, very true. Wingman is one of the GOATs, man. Like, Wingman hit different. More of the UIR. Krill Storm. We need to see more of the Krill. Blood that actually looks like blood again, because we know Gears 5, the blood looked like jelly, strawberry jam, whatever you want to call it. Like red little chunks. Gears 2, where it peaked, in my opinion, gore was just brilliant. It was like a dark red. It was so gory. In Gears 1 as well. Like in Gears 1, you're chainsawing someone's blood squirting out everywhere on screen. Like, as Marcus would say, nothing but bits. Yeah, man, you need that again. And in the trailer, the blood looked really great. The headshot, and you could just see the bones, and that was really good what they did in the trailer. So that's a good sign of things to come, hopefully. Make Onyx Guard actually an elite cog division instead of shiny cannon fodder. Yeah, I agree, because the Onyx Guard are a joke in the game, an absolute joke in the games. If they're an elite unit, show us something in E-Day. If they do anything, that'll be interesting. King of the Hill back in ranked. Get rid of control. I kind of like control because, you know, it keeps the action inside and, you know, it stops people camping and stuff. But I have amazing memories on King of the Hill as well. Both options are great, in my opinion. Yeah. I want to see Jamad. Jamad enjoyers, Jamad fanboys unite. I want it back to dark and gritty. I've seen so many of these comments that want content from Gears 4 and 5 in the game, and it disgusts me. I don't think we saw many, to be honest. There's a reason why the sequels failed. Keep all that garbage out of E-Day. This is the roots of Gears. Yeah, I agree. These new Gears fans are about to see what Gears is really about, and not that goofy BS Gears 4 and 5 are. to be honest, I don't like most of these comments are like, you know, more about original trilogy stuff. To be honest, I don't really see a lot of Gears 4 and 5 things. Maybe about customization or something. Obviously, one or two comments are about faster movement, but I don't. There's not much on Gears 4 and 5 what we've seen, and there's a reason for that, to be honest. But yeah, very bland. But I want to be able to hop over cover with a heavy weapon. Oh yeah, it's so annoying to have to go out of cover somewhere around the corner, the cover, in order to progress. And I want to be able to throw objects like in the trailer with the TV. Yeah, it's probably a sign of things to come with the objects. Heavy weapon, yeah, I mean, that'd be interesting if you're able to do that. Obviously, it is long, just like having to go all the way around and like, obviously, yeah. No Sweet Baby incorporated in this game, but is a client. We've discussed this already. Beast mode or get the fuck out. I agree, but they probably won't do escape. Won't do escape slash get the fuck out. What? This is E-Day. They might find a way to do it, or maybe just have high busting anyway. Who knows? Obviously, many people want to see beast mode. I've seen beast mode here more than Overrun as well. Locust campaign. This is what I mean. People want to see a Locust campaign DLC or something. Not gonna lie, I know it doesn't fit in the canon during E-Day, but escape absolutely slaps. Hot take, but it's more fun than Horde. And bring back beast mode. Beast mode again. I gotta disagree here. I don't think many people played escape from the numbers as well. I don't think you could find many games. And escape, I don't think it wasn't a good concept, and I don't think it suits E-Day at all as well. Not being woke, I mean, discussed all that. A Lancer grenade launcher. Gears 5 had this, I believe. I mean, an actual grenade launcher, not a laser guided javelin missile cluster bomb or whatever the hell that thing was, but low accuracy. Reboot, improve, and add on. That'd be sweet. Would it be like a part machine gun, a part grenade launcher, or just grenade launcher alone? Of course, a machine gun with an underbarrel grenade launcher. Yeah, I believe even in the novels there was a Lancer grenade launcher mentioned in the Pendulum Wars. So they can definitely do that. Obviously not that Lancer GL in Gears 5, the laser guided stuff, no. But like, just Retro Lancer, but like a grenade launcher attachment. Brilliant, yeah. And even rocket launchers. Why not have rocket launchers in E-Day? You know, the COG had that. You know, in the Pendulum Wars and stuff. So, as for the story, no retcons please. Stick to the lore, follow the books. Certain characters shouldn't be in the game either because Marcus and Dom never met them. Yeah, I agree, stick to the lore. Kim, Baird, Cole, Michael Barrett, Gabe Diaz, Dizzy, Keegan, Ram, Scourge, or they are in a different city. Ram, Scourge, Hoffman, Bernie, Anya, Kim, Barrick didn't even join the COG yet because... Well, sorry, Barrick didn't even join the COG yet because he was stranded. Or they were too young and not even born by the time of E-Day. Anthony, Ben, Jay, Sam, Alex Brand. Yeah, I agree. They're all quite younger characters. You know, in E-Day's time, yeah. The only way certain characters could show up is in a DLC, which I hope happens. I'm already mad that the Chainsaw Lancer is going to be in the campaign since the chainsaw was only made a year after E-Day, and of course Gear Judgment made it 3 weeks after E-Day. And it was for fan service. The Coalition did say that the game will be about E-Day and a few days of its aftermath. So there's not going to be a time jump. They should have just acknowledged that Judgment made a mistake and leave the Chainsaw Lancer alone. Unless it's multiplayer. I hate it when developers sacrifice lore for the sake of fan service. But it seems that they have done that already with the Chainsaw Lancer, and it makes me scared for what other important aspect of the lore they might retcon in order to keep certain people happy. Nobody ever said that they would include the Chainsaw Lancer. You're not up to date with the Gears news, bro. Well, no, they are actually. You're incorrect there. They are following a lot of the lore more accurately this time, but also using whatever white space that hasn't been explored before to use as an advantage to add new ideas. Okay, so to address this part here, obviously Judgment messed up the chainsaw lore, right? And it's a mainline, no, it's not a mainline Gears game, but it's a Gears of War game, right? And I think E-Day has a chance to actually fully set it in stone. It is a retcon, but it's a retcon in my opinion that needs to happen because Judgment messed shit up. And it gets confusing then otherwise. Because, you know, the game Judgment is more mainstream than the books, right? And many people have played Judgment and the Lancers there, the Chainsaw Lancers there. And I don't think you can have a Gears of War game on the Locust War without the Lancer Chainsaw because you have to be able to chainsaw the Locust. I truly believe that. So I think they have to retcon the chainsaw aspect, but don't do any more retcons other than that. I agree. Obviously Parasidian does work at the Coalition and he is the ultimate Gears of War lore guy. So I don't think he would allow these things to happen. And if it did, I'm sure he'd be stressing out more than us. So I think in terms of the lore, I think we're in a good spot thanks to Parasidian. He's the lore coordinator at the Coalition now. So, you know, I think we're in good hands in terms of the lore. I wouldn't worry about the lore, hopefully. Locust story modes. Oh, okay. Overrun 2.0. Yeah, I read that one. No recoil. Well, you can't have that because, you know, what's the point if the game is just going to hold your hand while you're trying to aim? You don't even have that in games like Fortnite, so why would it be in Gears where there's even more weight and it's more rough, it's more, you know... There should be an integrity to Gears of War multiplayer. There has to be a higher skill ceiling. You have to be able to actually be good with your aim and not have so much aim assist and bullet magnetism. So I disagree with that. Large scale battles, are you talking about multiplayer or campaign? Well, both really, innit? So true, it'll be so intense and add a ton of feel to E-Day. Agreed, even if they're just fodder, it'll be cool to fight alongside other Gears from time to time. Yeah, I agree. You know, I can't, like... In the trilogy, you're always kind of in your own little squads. But... in E-Day, I want to see like loads of other Gears as well, like in and around us as well at times. That would be really cool. I wouldn't mind if they made it like Gears of War 2. Of course. Gears of War 2, hey. Amazing. No lame WWE skins, please. This person said preach underneath here. But yeah, I agree with that because, you know, those skins were a disaster for Gears of War. Do not bring that back. If you are going to do any crossovers to multiplayer, you know, you want something like that, something that actually fits the Gears of War universe, like the Predator, for instance, like the Doomslayer, you know, something like that. Imagine if like the Doomslayer and like a Cyber Demon came to Gears multiplayer, and Cyber Demon is obviously on the Locust team, and Doomslayer is on the Cogs team. You have good crossovers like that actually fit the world of Gears. Like, if you see Doomslayer in Gears multiplayer, you're like, oh shit, yeah. He actually fits Gears. Like, you're not going to put Minecraft Steve in Gears multiplayer, are you? He doesn't suit it. You're like, what's he doing there? But that's all the YouTube community tab comments done. Look at all this. This was tough, but I loved reading all of your comments and discussing all of this. But that is only the YouTube community tab done. So, and now we're going to jump onto Twitter and Reddit. So, yeah, let's get into it. Moving on to the Twitter side of things, asked you guys once again, what do you want to see in Gears of War E-Day? Could be something major or something very, very small. So, a lot of people replied, liked, etc. So we're going to get into that. Obviously, it's not as many replies as my YouTube community tab because I'm not as big over on Twitter. If you want to follow me there, self-plug. But yeah, let's get into this. Livo said, I made this before we knew about E-Day. I think it still applies. This was like a 20-minute video and I did watch it. So yeah, I think I've watched it a few times actually. But so it's difficult to respond to this as I respond to all other tweets and not ideal to go through a long video. I've watched this video, it's great, but can you give me a summary through tweets? So this are some of the things that I remembered that he said in the video. So he said boot camp, he wants a boot camp mode, which is really good, is really great point because Gears 5 had a boot camp mode, but it was very basic. It's good that they implemented it, but it's very basic. And for players that want to get into multiplayer for the first time, it doesn't show you that much. You know, it shows you very basic little things. It would be good to have different levels of the boot camp to show you advanced mechanics in the boot camp. And for me to add on to that, actually, it would be nice to have like a little training, like a training gun range or something like that as well, so people can test different, weapons and so on. I think Rogue Company had this. I'm sure Call of Duty's had it a few times as well, so something like that. Matchmaking times, connection, I mean, that's pretty straightforward. What I would add on to that as well is you should be able to search for multiple game modes at once. Like, come on, right? Because, even now, like, when I tried to search for something on Gears 5, I think it was Control, I couldn't find a game for like 5-10 minutes. So I should be able to just search for like 4 or 5 things and select 4 or 5 matches, game modes at the same time, and see what I get, because I might not mind what I get. I might get Team Deathmatch, Control, Guardian. You just want to play, right? No one wants to be stuck in the main menu. So yeah, rewards, unlocks. I think this ties into what he said about Gears 3 as well, and I think he mentioned Modern Warfare 2 as well, because even I recall, like, older Call of Duty games, the stat tracking was immense, and I remember this in Black Ops 1 and 2, etc. The stat tracking was insane, and you could just like, get 250 kills with like an underbarrel or whatever stock it was, and just grind weapon skins and stuff like that. I think they were very good incentives, to be honest. Cover links, prioritizing corners. I'm gonna have to probably show you guys in video form for this one. So what he essentially means is, like, in this situation, I just want to go take on the cover and go straight, right? So you see just then, it automatically put me here, and then I actually, go run up the wall and just go straight. Or in a lot of situations, it might put you here, that's not on the edge of the cover, and then you end up rolling and kind of getting yourself killed. No one really wants to roll off that cover like that, so it kind of just, really fluid. Not really what you're trying to do. So yeah, I think that's what he's getting at. I do wonder if they can kind of get around that in EA. I'm not too sure. But yeah, get the fuck out of here, GAD. But yeah, and then big team battle for casual experience. So that ties into Overrun, War Mode, whatever you want to call it. Big team battle, obviously, because this is more accessible compared to the traditional Gears of War multiplayer. Traditional Gears multiplayer is always going to be quite niche. Like, hopefully, if it comes to PlayStation, then, in my opinion, a lot of PlayStation gamers do, like third person. They appreciate third person a lot more than Xbox gamers do, in my opinion, anyway. Apart from obviously those Gears fans, but so traditional multiplayer will always have that specific sort of players and fans. But big team battle would be more accessible. It's not about nature fights up close. It's more, you can use your Lancer, you can use whatever class you've got, any monster you want, the vehicles and so on. So yeah, it is basically more casual, but it can obviously get competitive as well, obviously. So yeah, it's basically more accessible. It's not really too casual as well. Yeah, I'd like to see a slightly bigger mode, maybe 10v10 or something. So yeah, but have a class system, so no weapon pickups, etc., similar to Space Marine 2 PvP. Well, with that one, I think that was arcade mode, wasn't it, in Gears 5? And there were specific classes, and people didn't like it. That got a lot of bad feedback, and that mode flopped, to be honest. So I don't think it would work. Obviously, if you want a class system mode if you want the class system in Horde, or like, the big team battle like we mentioned, yeah, a helmet based collector's edition. Imagine getting like a COG Gear helmet. That'd be insane. That'll be insane. For starters, no collabs. I think it's better if we get Gears Universe characters in multiplayer. Fair enough. Free for all should return again. King of the Hill needs to return. No more repetitive maps. I think it's time to let go of checkout, etc., and give some other maps to shine and focus on new maps. Oh man, yeah, fair enough, because yeah, like I said, the gridlocks, the blood drives, the checkouts of this world. Obviously, I do love checkout, but if it needs to go, it needs to go. People, you know, people have had enough. They want to. If old maps are to return to E-Day, then you know you want someone like Jacinto maybe, or like I said, Ruins, Nexus, no, not Nexus, Highway, Alex Brand and the Breacher. Of course, get Alex Brand in multiplayer alongside hundreds of characters in the Gears universe, and the Breacher is appearing once again. What Carmine that introduced there? So RUV, another member of the community. I don't think English is his first language, so I'm thinking what he's saying is which Carmine was introduced. Which Carmine would appear in E-Day, probably. I'm guessing that's what he's getting at. I'm sorry if I got that wrong, but like I said, in my opinion, I think it should be the Carmine's dad or uncle, or Will Carmine's brother, something like that. That'd be pretty cool. Characters being unlockable through gameplay and not through store purchases. So yeah, that ties into what we've discussed with the progression already. So yeah, Gears guys, and waiting for when the video is gonna drop. Well, we're working on it. We're recording right now, so yeah, hopefully soon. Elusive says the War Journal. Yes, of course. Paid DLC and no battle passes. That's a bit old school, isn't it? I don't know if we'll see that, to be honest. A good story for once. Yeah, it's been a while since we've had a good, like, really good, amazing Gears of War story. Gears 4 and 5 weren't it for me. Gears Tactics was okay. The lore was a bit sketchy, but it was alright, Gears Tactics. Hivebusters DLC was good for that story, in my opinion. Gears Judgment, forgettable, but some decent lore. I mean, they ignored a lot of lore as well at the same time. I mean, the characters were good, but the story, last amazing Gears story for me was Gears 3. So I get what you're saying. No battle pass as well. If you don't want battle passes, what's it going to be? Do you want loot boxes back? I mean, a lot of people don't like loot boxes. I didn't mind them, but I know why everyone hates them. Obviously, it's gambling. Like, you know, you could save up 100,000 Gears coins and you get nothing in your packs, and then they just create a lot of like fodder content in there, so it's pretty pointless. Whereas in the battle pass, because people are paying for it, that battle pass has to be, you know, good. Otherwise, no one's going to buy it, right? And then you can have some good free tiers in there. And then I don't want to pay for the DLC, to be honest, but I hear what you're saying. Wedding Coder says, this is the bingo card I tweeted 2 days ago. Other entries I couldn't fit think are too likely. Storm's return. Locust Perspective DLC. Marcus telling Dom, thank God Carlos didn't live to see this. God damn, man. Maybe one day Pendulum of War can exist and we will live out that moment with Carlos. Yeah. So let's see this. There's a lot of ideas here. Opening cutscene reenacts Rise of Rampages. Yeah, obviously, I think we've kind of touched on this already. Gears 3 Retro Lance Execution. Yep. Gears of War 4 controls return. Yeah, I think with the controls you need to have like a plethora of control options. You know, in ways in which people want to play. Gears 5 Fist Fights return. New character introduced. Yeah, I think we'll get that. Cold Train runs on Whole Grain returns. If we're sticking to lore, probably not. Unless it's a DLC. I don't know. Jamad is a key antagonist. Imagine we've seen Jamad. That'd be really cool. The game ends with hammer strikes. Yeah, imagine. That wouldn't be too bad. Indie weapons make a return. Yeah, of course, like we mentioned. Oscar Diaz cameo. That'll be interesting. Oscar Diaz. Yeah, he was a veteran. Did Marcus and Dom encounter him? I don't know. I mean, he doesn't have to directly come into contact with Marcus and Dom, right? It could have just been somewhere else. Like, you know, he's in the background. You just hear him somewhere. Yeah. The name Geist will be referenced. That's basically the original. That was going to be the original name for the Locust, basically, the Geist. But yeah, there's a little bit of trivia there, but obviously they ended up going with the Locust. Potential first sighting of Lambent Wretch is retconned. I think the people that would have seen the Lambent Wretches would probably be like civilians. Because I don't know, like, because even in Gears 1, Marcus is like, control, we've got what looks like glowing wretches out here. So Marcus and Delta, they didn't know. So, I don't know. Free Space, Onyx Guard, Bed, and Cold Story DLC. Yeah. I want to see someone on Onyx Guards in E-Day, to be honest. Adam Phoenix's Control. That'd be really interesting. I wouldn't mind that. I would like that, to be honest. Mad World Returns. I think we're going to get that. Alex Harper, Ty, or Alicia referenced. Harper was quite a young gear as well, to be honest. He was a lot younger well, not a lot younger, but he was younger than Marcus and Dom. I think he's probably around Clayton's age or something. Alex was quite young. Ty will be around. Alicia, yeah, she can appear somewhere for sure. Hammer of Dawn returns. I mean, yeah, because the Hammer of Dawn, like, you know, they were test firing it, you know, as the Pendulum Wars were coming to an end, and 1 year after E-Day is when obviously the Hammer of Dawn fully went down, you know, destroyed everything, but there can be limited little blasts here and there when the cog need it most or something, but they might not have full control over it or something. So possibly Berserker returns. I hope so. Dom Wares carries his Embry Star. Anthony Carmine, not D, will appear. Anthony, he'll be too young. New Locust revealed. Yeah, we want to see lots of new Locust enemies. Like I discussed in my video, I want to see the Locust Hunters return. I want to see the Locust Ragers. I want to see the Unarmored Mauler from the comics. I want some new Boomer variants. Maybe the Master Boomer concept that never made it into the games. There's different Locust variants and hollow creatures that just, you know, hollow creatures that could have been around, but they just became extinct as the war progressed because they became redundant for the Horde, basically, or something. So there's so much they can do with it in terms of Locust enemy variety. Don't just chuck the standard drones and wretches at us. You know, you can do a lot more than that. Because if they introduced the Rager, which is like another Locust drone subspecies, then they can introduce other Locust drone subspecies as well. Why not? I don't see why not. Lancer Mark II is a new Game Plus weapon. Logs from 1 to Tactics make a return. Logs from 1, yeah, I don't really want to see the Ukon's experiments like the Zealots and Disciples, because their lore doesn't really make sense. It's a bit of a joke, to be honest. Like, what, they got harnesses of emulsion on? They should be turning lambent, really. I don't know, it's a bit sketchy. I don't really want to see them, but I would like to see more Ukon's experiments on E-Day, like some different hollow creature variants, or yeah, or even like Wretch variants. You know, get creative with it. Ram Scourge Khan referenced, yeah. I think with the Locust Generals, like, the humans won't know who they are, but like they're gonna hear quickly that there's this freaking 10 feet tall monstrous Locust who's just using the krill, and he's got a serrated sword, and you know, and the hearing of Khan, like Paddock's, like they called him Khan in Goraznia 30 days after E-Day, and so they're not going to know who the Locust Generals and higher ranking Locust are, but they're going to quickly learn that, you know, there's these specific Locusts who are dealing a lot of damage to the cog, and the Coalition High Command is going to kind of pick up of these Locusts and it's going to be in the cog files, and you know they're going to learn of these things quickly, obviously. So yeah, good point. Gears Garrison, so no lack of significant content at launch. So this is a big one because no one's really actually mentioned this so far. And this is a big one because Gears 5 launched bare bones, like you couldn't play as Delta Squad. There was like, how many maps were there? Like 6 or something? There were like 6 maps. There was, you know, the servers weren't working. There was so many issues. Man, this is giving me PTSD right now. But so, you know, the launch has to be solid, not just in terms of content, but the game has to be freaking working properly. Stress test the servers beforehand. You know, have a good line of content. Like, you know, the game launches with a great amount of content, but you got a roadmap of what's to come as well. And yeah, so like you said, good post-launch support with quick updates, and polished multiplayer with no technical issues. Like, yeah, because I don't want to go through Gears E-Day's lifetime cycle and we're discussing, oh, you know, Nasher needs 8 shells and the Lancers got way too many bullets, and you know, do we really need to go through this again? Every Gears of War game, there's been years of feedback. Like, you know what I mean? So obviously if they need feedback, we're here. I'm here as well, obviously. But yeah, like a lot of the feedback has been given over the years as well. So, you know, we just want some polished multiplayer. Have a direction and kind of stick with it. Don't be jumping back and forth. Cosmetics unlocked through in-game achievements. Yeah, we've kind of discussed that. No skill-based matchmaking MMR for non-ranked versus. Yeah, this is a big one because a lot of games nowadays are doing this, and I hate it personally. That's a good one, because in casual game, like matches, quick play, whatever, you just want to have fun. Like, bring the rolling lobbies back. Yeah, so keep it simple like how it always was. Don't kill the fun out of it, and yeah. Emphasis on horror, which we've discussed. Military rank progression system. Yeah. I mean, the battle pass was kind of like that, and re-ups as well I think. So yeah, okay. I really hope this comes to PS5. Yeah, I do too. Tastier Lake, big supporter as well of the channel, says King of the Hill, more than Control. Let me know if you agree or disagree with that one. I don't mind either, but I do like Control as well. Wingman, of course. War mode could be a beast over on Evolution. Yeah. Presentable launch, exactly, yeah, here we go again. Maps, modes, weapons, roster, etc. Good point. No remake supports for maps, fair enough, so you want like all new maps. Carlos's prologue, yeah, good. And deaths of Dom's family explored in the story. Yeah, well done here, because you know, there's a lot they can tap into for Dom. You know, just work backwards from the trilogy, basically. You know, in Gears 2, why was he so infuriated and desperate in the first place? Obviously, it was a Maria, but, you know, he lost more than Maria. You know, Dom lost a lot, so yeah. Logos leaders, RAM scores, etc. as bosses in PvE, yeah. No collabs, okay. A couple of other things he's not done yet. So 4-player co-op and split screen, yeah. We've discussed this as well. Story DLC post-launch, there's so many possibilities. Shoulder swapping, this is a big one. So no one's really spoken up about this, and this is really interesting. I don't know if they can make it work. I have discussed this in the past as well, but this was like years ago. Shoulder swapping, it's going to be tough to make it work. I would love to see them play around with it and see what they can do, and if it would fit. If it would fit, like, you know, Gears multiplayer, that'd be really interesting. Yeah, and a photo mode, that'd be really cool. Yeah, like a theater photo mode, whatever you want to call it. You know, like Gears 2 and that had, you know, the ghost camera, and you take little snaps. I would take a little snapshots of people dying and little just funny little pictures on that, and yeah, like, let's have that. Yeah, good point, man. Good point. I agree with the no remix ports, at least not for the first half of the game's life cycle. If we get Gridlock one more time, I can go one of a few ways on ports remakes. We remake maps that haven't been remade ever or in a very long time. So yeah, that's like what we've discussed. Ports remakes are in the game, but only for customs, similar to their initial plan for Gears 5. That'll be interesting. Yeah, I mean, yeah. My preferred, as mentioned, we don't get them at all. Oh crap. I'd also love mod support, but I have so little hope in that idea. But if it were to happen, then let the community remake those maps if they absolutely gotta have them. But the devs should work on new maps, in my opinion. I don't think mod support would happen in E-Day, to be honest. I think what you should do is, if the Gears collection, comes soon, then get mod support for that. So, over time, they probably won't support a Gears collection. But if you got mod support there, then let the community take over with the Gears collection and, do some amazing stuff with that. So I don't think they'd go for mod support. Yeah, just give us a Forge mode and the community will remake whatever they want. Until then, I just want fresh new maps. Yeah, let's get that Forge mode in and give us the keys to that. Make a Forge mode like Halo and let's get cracking with that. So yeah, so this one got quite a few likes. So no microtransactions at all. Okay, battle passes, loot boxes, or timed cosmetics. With cosmetics, unlocks linked to campaign or multiplayer stats and progression. Yeah, man, I get what you're saying, but I mean, do you really expect them to have no microtransactions at all? The game's gonna be on Game Pass, and I mean, I would love this, obviously, if they got no microtransactions at all. I would love this, obviously, but from a business standpoint, I don't think that's gonna happen. I mean, if the game launches on PlayStation as well, and obviously they meet, they break even quite easily through sales and stuff, then they might not force microtransactions down our throat as much as they did in Gears 5 and so on. So, I don't know, we'll have to see. Obviously, I get the concern, obviously. Gridlock has been, I agree. Character model scaling makes sense, they're too big in 5. Yeah, movement speed is reduced, similar to Gears 2. Let's go! Gears 2 enjoyers. Yes. Weapon spawn timers are not ridiculously long. Yeah, I agree. No Gridlock times 2. Swimsuit Offman skin with massive jiggles physic. Yeah, what's happening here? No, we don't want that. Gears 3 longshot reticle and firing mechanics. I mean, debatable. Most importantly, don't change the tuning every fucking week. Yeah, like I said, we stick with the direction, go with it, but don't be going back and forth every week. You've got all the feedback, over the years. Microtransactions are needed. Selling skins is nothing new. People don't complain when CSGO and Valorant are selling skins. Should be the same for Gears. Counter-Strike, Valorant are two examples of many games that are successful with microtransactions, but doesn't change the fact that it's predatory. If they want microtransactions in Gears, then the game should be free to play and people can pay if they want. Man, I don't know. I don't know, it depends from the business standpoint, but like I said, if it's on PlayStation and they can make a lot of sales there, obviously, because there's way more players there, then hopefully, they wouldn't push microtransactions down our throat. That's one of the big reasons why I'm actually for, it going multi-platform as well. Yeah. Someone finally said something about the size of characters in Gears 5. They've always looked odd. I've always noticed I don't feel crazy anymore. It's been one of my major complaints about the multiplayer since ever. The map scaling, the assets used are scaled down, but the character models are scaled up. So the whole thing feels squished now, coupled with the fact that the increased speed of the game just feels crap. Yeah, I mean, yeah, it's nothing like how it was. Even in Gears 4, it was a lot better than this. I'd love FFA to be a launch mode. A lot of people do like FFA. Gears of War 2 wall bounce, I agree. Wingman as well, to top it off, of course. I want 4-player co-op to come back, so that's another one saying 4-player co-op. Even if it just means player 3 and 4 are just generic Gears. Yeah, I mean, that'd be interesting to see how they can work that out. I'd like Horde to kind of go back to basics too. So with Horde, I wouldn't mind seeing like a traditional Horde mode, maybe like a large scale variant. And if there's a classes variant as well, I think Horde will have a really good player base, and I think you can have multiple Horde modes. Like I said, especially if it's on PlayStation, PC, Game Pass is way bigger than it used to be. Like in terms of subscriptions, when Gears 5 launched, the player base can be there. You just have to deliver an amazing Gears of War experience. I think the players will be there. So yeah. But yeah, I really loved Gears 2 Horde. That was a freaking challenge. Like, yeah, man. More PvE content, a new PvP game mode with double XP, so those playlists don't die. That's a good idea, actually. That's a good incentive to get players playing modes that maybe not a lot of people don't like, so they don't die out. That's a good point, man. Yeah, well done there. Overrun 2.0 and Escape 2.0 E-Day reskin. Get rid of a giant E-hole, then extract. Oh, that's a good take on that. Yeah, I like how you're thinking there. So the double XP for the playlist, that, you know, so they don't die. Some particular playlists and more PvE content, that'd be great. You know, adding enemies to the roster over time and other stuff as well. Escape 2.0 E-Day reskin, that'll be interesting. I wonder if they could do something like that. Yeah. Okay, cool. Not sure what else they can add to a cover shooter. I guess Omni movement. I mean, you can Omni roll anyway, but I don't know, like, what, you just want to move in every single direction. The one thing I do want is new maps, no more old maps, and the war bond system from Helldivers could be a good thing in Gears. I mean, I don't really know much about, obviously I've heard of great things about Helldivers, but I've not played it. But you know, I'll actually kind of look into that now. So obviously you don't want old maps returning again. Let's look at this war bond system. So what are war bonds? So it's a battle pass system, which is the only way of unlocking all of the different weapons and armor within the game. You can access the warband menu anywhere on your ship. Okay. So to unlock it, you're going to need medals, which are one of the main currencies in the game. Medals can be obtained by completing missions, operations, and the daily personal order quest. Warbonds are sectioned into different pages, with each page requiring a certain amount of medals for it to unlock. The required medals increase exponentially with each page, and the main Helldivers Mobilized Warbond features 10 pages of rewards. I mean, it's basically like, it's like a battle pass system, but it's like, yeah, like super credits can also be found in game during matches. So if you play enough, you'll never need to spend any real money to unlock new weapons or armor in the game. So that's really good, obviously. So yeah, I wouldn't mind something like this. It's basically a battle system, but like with way more pages, and you can find super credits in the game and stuff. That's interesting. Yeah, it's a good point. I wouldn't mind something like that in E-Day. Yeah. Overrun Gears 2 style Horde. Yes, I agree. Gears 4 comp weapon tuning for the weapons. So for this one, there was a competitive tuning in Gears 4. I think it was competitive 2.8, and I absolutely loved that tuning, and it was such a high skill ceiling in my opinion, and I would love that personally for traditional multiplayer. I don't think they'll go with that, but I would love that, man. So I get where you're coming from. Legacy weapons back, such as Mortar, Mulcher, and Hammer of Dawn. I agree. Breach up back too, yeah. Maps that play well on all modes and not just certain game types, which are also a good layout for Horde and Overrun 2. Yeah, but it's difficult to, you know, make a map and it's good for Horde, it's good for Overrun, it's good for, you know, it's good for Wingman, it's good for Guardian. It's really hard to get that type of map. But yeah, I don't know if they'd go for specific maps, but obviously if there's war mode or whatever, then you're gonna need the specific maps for that, obviously. Yeah. That's a pointless comment. I would love to be able to have a create a gear feature where you can use them in all multiplayer modes. So we are getting the create a gear feature a few times now. So, you know, yeah, we've discussed this before. He hopes they make a good multiplayer. Gears 5 is not it. A return to the grittier, darker horror vibe of campaign. But if the multiplayer isn't fixed, the game will die. Yeah, I agree as well. Yeah, like we said, we've discussed that. A brand new horde mode on a much bigger scale with campaign themes, horde only maps. So this is a big one. So I do want to see a large scale horde mode as well. Like so many players taking on the Locust, and it's like it's got campaign themes to it. Obviously, emergence holds, you know, maybe General Ram, Srak, Khan, Scourge, and you can have horde. It doesn't have to be 5 players. You know, who says it has to be 5 players? You can have a traditional horde mode, 5 players, play with your friends, whatever. Make a huge horde mode as well. That'd be insane. That'd be freaking insane. Loads of people would absolutely love that. Yeah, and horde only maps, because I mean, I don't know how many resources they'll have for this, but any modes that obviously have got more than 10 players, they're gonna have to have a certain type of map, right? So yeah. Maybe Chairman Daliel addressing the entire nation to try and ensure that things will be okay. Yeah, obviously the chairman at the time, Chairman Daliel, he needs to make some announcements on E-Day, trying to clarify something that the COG, he's trying to show everyone that, you know, the Gears will deal with this, but they ain't dealing with shit. But yeah. An anthology campaign rather than just Marcus and Dom. This is prime time to see the reactions of Barrick, Bernie, Dizzy, and even bringing back Valera, Sophia, etc. So, like we said, you know, we have to see a lot of perspectives on E-Day. Obviously, the game is about Marcus and Dom, from what they're telling us, but it's way more than just Marcus and Dom, right? You know, you have to see so many perspectives of characters on that day. Have to do that. You know, it's Gears of War E-Day. Right, so yeah, you're right again. I want to experience a prelude mission like Gears 4, where you can control a drone or a Theron against the Lambent. So he wants like a Lambent, you know, a Lambent War prologue. You know, probably showing why the Locusts are emerging in the first place. I would like to do Horde mode with 50 waves. Yeah, we need the traditional variant. Would love to see a Space Marine suit approach in the sense of big scale, lots of enemies, yep, not just pockets like in previous games. I was pinned down, making actual war. I agree, great point. I'll also ditch the partial open world aspect and go back to a more direct storytelling. So I do think they're going to go for a more linear approach. And like the partial open world aspect, I don't think it really works in Gears, to be honest. I did try it, it didn't work. Space Marine 2 had like an insane amount of enemies on screen, and Gears of War can do that as well. Why can't it? Right? You know, you need to see so many locusts on screen. It's E-Day. You know, there's going to be multiple waves of locusts attacking. You know, it's not just going to be like one emergence hole here and another one across the street. Like, you know, and there's just a few drones coming out, like in Gears 1, you're going through a fear of streets. No. Right? There's going to be way more than that. You need to see, you know, loads of hollow creatures, wretches, drones, grenadiers, and so on. So you have to see so many locusts, right? Biggest thing is beast mode. It'll be epic sound E-Day with all different locusts. So another beast mode enjoyer right there. A harder difficulty in campaign mode. Harder than insane or inconceivable. Thank you. I mean, a lot of Gears fans will love this, right? Yeah. Like a realism mode or something. Definitely the Hammer of Dawn haphazardly being reconfigured from a strategic WMD to a tactical one. That would be crazy. So obviously they're gonna have to find a short-term solution, you know, to the Locust to try and, you know, do anything they can, and I think they will. I think it'll be great to actually tackle that. Have some very small Hammer of Dawn blasts. Big targets, yeah, and obviously, you know, the full-scale Hammer of Dawn attack doesn't happen till a year later, but yeah. Horde mode and overrun, and lots of other stuff. Yep. A little more of a horror atmosphere, yeah. 0 microtransactions. Some incorporated Horde mode to the campaign, like Judgment had. I don't know, I didn't really like this. I didn't really like how it just set up Horde stuff in the campaign. I think that's quite lazy, in my opinion. So yeah, the battle rifle. I want a lot of the old Locust voice lines back, and the new ones they did Savage Canter so dirty in Gears 5. I went back to Gears 4 for a bit and realised the voice lines for the Locust were more true to form than any of the voice lines in Gears 5. It's so odd. So for this one, yeah, obviously it comes down to voice acting, innit? If they can, you know, who's Robert, what was his name? Robert Downs. I think he did some Locust voice lines. I think he did Cantus as well. But yeah, if you can get the OG voice acting for the Locust back, that'd be amazing. But just try your best to obviously try and be in line with those original, you know, voice lines. That'd be great. Yeah, I'd love that. No weird character scaling, kind of, yeah, address this. I don't want the same skins in different colors. I'd rather just have the better versions of skins come back and not remakes. Yeah, the same skins in different colors. That's just kind of like, you know, lazy content, isn't it? A good tuning all round. A Black Steel, to be honest, that's peak skins, even if the future of esports is bleak. Yeah, Black Steel's goated, isn't it? Yeah. Really love that Black Steel Grenadier. It's time we get to see legendary characters never before seen on the big screen. Carlos Santiago, Helena Stroud, Padrick Sultan, and more. Yeah, good stuff. Carmine there, of course. Carlos Santiago flashback, which, yeah, a lot of people want to see this. A lot of people. Overrun 2, that's it. That's all I want. So that ties into what we discussed. Multiplayer mode, beast mode, and wingman. Maybe Overrun. So a lot of the community want very similar things, you know, apart from obviously disagreements with tuning and so on. Something like Overrun is like a war mode is not gonna split the community, is it? Because if you're talking traditional multiplayer, obviously some people, because it's a legacy franchise now, some people want it like Gears 1, some people want it like Gears 2, like myself, some people want it like in Gears 3, some people might want it like in Gears 4 or 5, or I don't know if anyone wants it like Judgment, but yeah. But with something like a war mode, go all out with it, and I think everyone would love that, right? So I think more of the community would be on the same page for that. Carmine, indeed. Oops, keep doing that. Two things I need to see: Judgment style revamps of the older maps instead of raw ports of the old maps. They do not play well or fun this many years later for how Gears is played. Yeah, so for that one, you know, if you're gonna bring a map back, then just you need to rejuggle it, like retweak it to how they think it will play now in E-Day. For instance, they tried doing that with River in Gears 5, you know, just I think they blocked some lines of sights and stuff. But I don't think Gears 5 River was the same, so they have to be really careful which maps they pick. I think that's kind of why they kind of always go for Blood Drive and stuff. But, you know, get creative. Don't be lazy about it. I think I don't want to see gridlock, obviously, but yeah, obviously there's, like, for instance, Gears 2 Jacinto and Gears 3 Jacinto. I preferred Gears 2 Jacinto. Obviously Gears 3 one didn't open it up, but Gears 2, the action is so packed and everything's there. Gears 3 Jacinto, everyone's just all over the place. But yeah, that's my opinion anyway. Low friendly character creation for multiplayer on both sides, but with the option to pick normal characters. This is probably a bit more of a sensible one, like in terms of you got an option to pick normal characters as well, but maybe like a, you know, create a Locust or Gear as well, like low friendly. Obviously, you don't want to turn it into some weird thing where, like, you know, it's not even Locust or Gears anymore. It's just something else. Like, yeah. How would I do character creation is if the color gear and drum would be like a Halo spot and you could swap and mix and match different armor. Mixing and matching gears armor cores could be the way. The Locust side might be more body type than armor, Theron's, Grenadiers, Cantus, drone, but overall cores built from and modified will be cool, or just the tactics if they want to keep it a bit more simple than full mix and match. See, like, you know, this, you know, it's nice asking for this, but you're gonna go down the route of, do you want them selling armor cores to you separately? Do you want them to be selling you Theron, I don't know, Grenadier pants separately? Or like the sniper drones goggles? You know, I'd rather have full skins, to be honest. It's always worked. But yeah. Yeah, you gotta be very careful with asking for this, to be honest. Be careful what you wish for, as they say. Back to a more linear, dark, gritty, and more horror type of campaign. No open world segments and make Gears violent again. No more red jello cubes. Yeah, so the goal obviously make it actual realistic blood, no strawberry jam, jelly cubes, and yeah. Modern day version of Gears 2 online with Summoning Man would be great. Oh man. I wish for a tactics like customization system, but let's be honest, whatever we get, either it is good or bad, the community will hate it. Someone's a little bit more realistic, maybe. Honestly, you're gonna have people that just don't like anything and they just hate, right? Because negativity sells. But I think the community have been negative on a lot of things for a long time now, and I think a lot of the community do genuinely praise things when they are good. I do believe that. Obviously, because it's a legacy franchise, right? You see this in franchises like Halo and maybe Diablo and so on. There's splits in the fan base of how people envision their way that the game should be played and so on. So yeah, I do think everyone does want well for EA. Everyone wants the best for Gears, but everyone people's passion might get the best from at times. Yeah. Horde mode like Gears 3 and good campaign is all I care about. Fair enough. I want to see 4-player co-op campaign and being able to choose whatever character you want, and there's no limit of how many of the same characters you can be. Okay. Well, that'd be a bit weird though, wouldn't it? Like, you've got what, 3 Doms on your team and 1 Marcus. How would the voice acting and all that work there? It might be a bit weird. How would they make that work? I get what you're saying. I don't know how it would work, to be honest. Free for all, King of the Hill, TDM, Dark Gritty, Horror Campaign 2. Yeah, I agree, but I don't want TDM, to be honest. Gears 4 customization, Gears 3 movement, possible weapon stats as well, minus sub power, fuck that. Okay, no double exploding boom. A campaign as fantastic as 1 or 2, no leaderboard ranking system. Gears 4 customization, Gears 3 movement. Obviously Gears 4 had a lot of skins and stuff. Gears 3 movement. Obviously people do want to see that. I'd go for Gears 2, but yeah, no leaderboard ranking. I don't think they'd go for that anyway. And yeah, we've discussed all of this. Second campaign accessible once the first is complete. That'd be interesting. Playing as Ram and Score during the Locust Civil War, which leads into the start of E-Day. Maybe some missions playing as them during, and some actual cutscenes that take from the comics. Yeah, I agree. Working in Asher. All this. Working in Asher on day 1. Then Asher. Yep. Get back to its horror roots. Less colours, more dark aesthetic. Yeah. I mean, some colours are not a bad thing. Obviously, you can't just have it all be grey constantly. When there's colours, but you're going to see destruction everywhere. So just before E-Day begins, just before the Locust emerge, it's going to be colourful, right? So they got to just balance it right. Fewer weapons, loadouts. I mean, that depends, doesn't it? Fewer one-shot kill weapons from a distance. Yeah, possibly. Well, like the one-shot or something. To see what happened to Jamad and Vroll, did Marcus meet Gabe Diaz and what weapons they used at the beginning of the Locust War? That's true. Apart from Retro Lancer and stuff like that, yeah. Now, what happened to Jamad? What happened to Keats of Vroll? I don't think Marcus met Gabe, but otherwise I think he would have mentioned it. And yeah, I don't think he met him. And let's tap into all of those weapons that the COG used in the early Locust War era, and obviously the end of the Pendulum Wars, and what the Locust used as well. Because the Grenadiers, the Locust can't just appear, and the Grenadiers are using the Nasher shotguns that the COG use. They have to be using their own Locust shotgun variants or something, but the COG's shotguns are better, so they equip those, they master those weapons, and that class of Grenadier is born, right? So like the Locust Sniper, they don't come out of the emergence hall with a long shot sniper rifle, unless the Locusts were scavenging some resources beforehand. But I would prefer it if they said there might have been like a Locust Sniper, but that sniper rifle was outdated or whatever. or maybe that class is born because, you know, they've scavenged the locust, they've scavenged those cog weapons because, you know, they've defeated the cog in many cities. They've taken all those resources and taken it back to the hollow, and obviously, you know, trained more forces, more classes, and yeah, and that's how different locust variants come about, you know, as the war progresses, and some locust classes die out as the war progresses as well. I'd love to have dual executions. Yeah, that'd be really fun. I don't know why this is under spam, but yeah, 12 on 12 team deathmatch, that's what I'd like to see. And if you could put the campaign and multiplayer together and do a hive bust with your team, that would be cold. Well, what do you mean hive bust? It's not Gears 5 or 6. Large scale mode, yeah, a longer campaign, 12 on 12 team deathmatch. My hope, getting a small mission or interactions with the UIR in a joint ops to kill some locust. That'd be interesting, yeah. So that's the Twitter side of things done. That was a lot of comments as well. Not as many as YouTube, but yeah, hopefully I answered those and obviously put your thoughts across as in the best way I possibly could. But yeah, let's move on to Reddit now. So moving on to the good old Reddit, asked again, what do you want to see in Gears of War E-Day? Could be something very small or something major. This one, only 44 likes, 72 comments. I barely post on Reddit, to be honest. I don't really use it much. Might check in on the Gears subreddit here and there. But yeah, let's go. Let's get into it. I want the dark, bold artwork back. If they can capture the feelings from Gears 1 to 2 on the newest Unreal Engine, man, would I be happy. All things aside, Gears 5 was a beautiful game. I hope for a graphic masterclass. Well, we already know it will be a graphic masterclass. Of course, Gears of War always was for its time. Every single game. And the dark, bold artwork back from Gears 1 and 2. And yeah, I'm very much agreed. Here they're just talking about nostalgia, so that's not really too relevant. I want to see a return to the darkness and grittiness of the earlier games. The locust should be strong and terrifying. You should feel like you're losing the whole game. Also, I think it would be cool to see the impact of E-Day on civilians. Yeah. Would be cool to see a sequence where the locusts are emerging and civilians and COG alike are freaking out and trying to figure out what is going on. That's like what I've discussed as well. Or to witness a group of soldiers seeing a corpser or Brumac for the first time, etc. The E-Day prologue of Gears 4 was amazing for that reason. Yeah, so we have to see all of the Gears reactions to the locust, and not just the locust, like all the different locust enemies, the Brumacs, the corpses, the wretches, the blood mounts, everything. You need to see, like, they will be perplexed. They're gonna be so afraid and horrified, like, what the hell is this? So yeah, great point. Very much agreed. I really want Overrun back. Judgment may have not been the best game, but Overrun was really fun and was a perfect game mode for Gears. So some people agree there as well. Nice. Well, Overrun once again, what can I say? Linear campaign, yeah. Man, beast mode dreams. So we've got people agreeing on beast mode. And this guy says, nah, Overrun is just a better beast mode. I mean, they can both exist. Going off everything we've discussed in this video, they can both exist. Right? It doesn't have to be one or the other. A functional and traditional versus multiplayer that actually makes sense. I am so over Gears back up a rap shot of War 5. This, played the shit out of 1 and 2 back in the day, just recently returned to the series and I'm enjoying the newer games, but the multiplayer feels lacking compared to the beginning of the series. I just couldn't tell if there was a reason or if that it was just nostalgia talking. So yeah, obviously Gears 5 is like faster than any other game. It's easier than any other Gears game. There's not a lot of weight to it. Like even all the sounds, the world, like there's not much like grunting. You know, even just the simple things as the sound effects. The weight of it is not really there. It is fluid. Gears 5 is very fluid. It's so up to date. The FPS is amazing, and everything's so smooth because obviously it's the newest entry in the series. But everyone's doing the same thing. It's the easiest Gears of War multiplayer ever. it's so easy to do every single move, and that's really odd because it was never like that. And the Nasher is like a sword off, and yeah, I can go on and on, but yeah. I want to see the Retro Lancer be the basic firearm in the game, while a chainsaw is a weapon you can find. On E-Day, there shouldn't be a chainsaw Lancer because they hadn't been developed by Adam Phoenix yet. Okay, so this ties into everything we discussed with the Lancer chainsaw origins there. I hope it has at least one gun. Okay. No, we only get the trailer TV. Why is there so many ads, by the way? Is Reddit always like this? Freaking one here, one there. You know, what's all this about? Atmosphere, a threatening air from the Locust. And give us back our boy Kevin Ripple for the music. Yeah, or Steve Jablonski, of course. Get them both back. I take Ripple any day. Jablonski was good, but the music was much less unique and memorable. That's fair, maybe because I'm biased, but I really loved the Transformers movies growing up. Yeah, I just want those original sounds back, man. Ah, yeah. Especially, you know, that Gears of War 4 soundtrack. I hate that one. Gears 5 was a bit better, but nothing beats those original Gears 1, 2, and 3 sounds. The music, you know, through the different levels and stuff. Amazing, amazing. Campaign, release on PS5, very much agreed. Couch co-op, 4-player co-op, no one needs to be Paul, Dave, Steve, Peter, or Jack the robot. Okay. Story DLC, give us Harper's story, Locust story. I say great story, but anything like that is obvious. Multiplayer wise, all characters from 1 to 5, fully customizable gears would be nice. Unlocking characters from playing campaign. Yeah, that's a big one. Like, unlock characters from playing the campaign. I miss that, you know. Bring that back, for sure. Beast mode again, obviously. Destructible environments. New modes, bigger maps. Would love a Frontlines mode from Battlefield, if anyone ever played that. The little achievement trackers that pop up from bottom right from 3, I loved. Yeah, of course. Cover destruction all the way, that's what I'm talking about. So obviously we've discussed this already. I want the same, but nothing far. Like, I don't want to be able to destroy the whole cover. I want it to be like Gears 2, but probably a bit more than that. And just see explosions and loads of blood trails and bodies as the map progresses, the match progresses in multiplayer, and even on campaign, just seeing all the blood and bodies pile up, and the destruction in real time, destroyed beauty, and so on. More missions to do with the Pendulum Wars. You're talking a prologue or like a DLC there in terms of E-Day. A lot of action combined with a lot of lore. Yeah, good graphics. More than 30 FPS, please. Well, obviously. And don't cost $100. I am watching you, GTA 6. Yeah, because there was rumblings of GTA 6 that is going to cost $100. I don't know how true that is, but yeah. Obviously, E-Day will be on Game Pass anyway. And honestly, if Gears of War E-Day is absolutely amazing, I'll pay that on top of that. I'll buy a PlayStation and buy it there as well. That's how much I love Gears of War. I'll buy any version. A really fun horde mode, I agree. Classic horde, no turrets, no deck of cards leveling bullshit, no perks. Just a good team with their loadout or preferred weapons of choice. Scavenged from the battlefield, yeah. Gears 2 version. Canters, blood mounts, boomers, etc. You know the drill. I would love if they removed sentries. They take so much of the fun and tension out of horde. However, I do like the sense of progression that perks give. It gives players the mini goals to work towards and potentially increase player engagement. No way they're going back to old horde in my opinion. I mean, they could still do an old horde variant. I don't really see why not. Whether it's a limited time event or a permanent one, or just be able to do it in private lobbies or lobby browser, whatever, I think is a possibility. So I wouldn't completely rule it out. I want Gears 4 PvP back and just improved graphically wise. With a similar ranked system, they just need to ignore all the complainers that insist they are diamond when they play like bronze. They've always given into these complainers, so we end up with a participation ranked system. Gears 4 is overrated in my opinion. So I do kind of agree with this one actually. They did do that, from what I recall. And yeah, I think we have discussed multiplayer a lot. Also, I want Gears 4 Horde back the same exact way. 5 was way worse. Was it? I thought Gears 5 Horde is better than 4's. I mean, Gears 4's Horde was... The enemy roster was terrible, man. You're just fighting robots and some swarm, like, you know, limited swarm numbers. I gotta say, 3's Horde felt a lot nicer, especially the progression. But holy shit, Juvie Madness and Gears of War was fucking fun. I'd love for them to add Horde options like that. Just imagine Wretch only Horde. Interesting. Give me a unit like the Kansas, but it summons Wretches and heals them for Horde. Summons Wretches, you might want to look into the Master Boomer. I think it was called that. Really neat concept. That was basically a Boomer with a massive chain whip and a backpack full of Wretches that could throw out players. So yeah, we've actually gone through that on the channel in terms of content. The Master Boomer, that was supposed to be in Gears 3, I believe. And yeah, he didn't make it in the end. And imagine if he actually makes it in E-Day. I would love for them to revisit that concept. That would be an amazing addition to the game, I agree. Fera Streets 2 OST. Yeah, but we won't be in the Fera Kelowna Streets, that's true. That's in terms of, yeah, the soundtrack. No cringy Gen Z jokes. This is a game about hardened men facing an existential, I think that's how you pronounce it. Yeah, threat. Well, yeah, I agree in terms of Gen Z jokes, but in terms of that cheesy humor and stuff, that was always in Gears. Like, whether it's Cole joking about beds, bladder problems, whether Marcus saying the Therons like they're not here to sell cookies, whether it's Dom saying, you know, strip Prescott's chopper for parts like Stranded. They always made like little cheesy, well, whether you found them cheesy or not, but you know, little jokes like that. They always made those jokes. I don't think they'll do it much on E-Day because this is the beginning, and they're in way more shock, obviously. So it wouldn't really be too right to have much of that. But you do need to see Marcus and Dom's personalities still. So yeah, Wingman, of course. Pendulum War Action, Prologue, yeah, DLC perhaps. I want Downs and Co-op Insane like Gears 1 and 2. I want the different paths where you each split up, yep. I want linear with no open world sections. I want DLC campaign content. So, Downs and Co-op Insane, okay. Different paths, we've discussed that. Linear, yep, and DLC. Dark Hopelessness, I agree. I would like a win streak counter displayed next to our names between lobbies so everyone knows how many ranked matches have been won. Ah, that's a nice little feature, isn't it? Like a win streak counter or something. That'd be pretty sweet. That's a nice little addition, to be honest, like a little flex in the lobby. I wouldn't mind that. I want to see the return of Overrun more than anything. So another Overrun enjoyer. Multiplayer that's so good I can play it for years. Very much agreed. Even obviously I can't really find a match on Gears 1 anymore, but Gears 2, timeless multiplayer. There are people on Xbox 360 still playing Ranked Guardian, still searching for it every night, probably every evening. And any evening I can search Ranked Guardian on Gears 2 and I can actually find a game, which is actually so crazy. You're talking 18, 17 years later. Absolutely insane. So if the multiplayer is really good, people will play it for years, and you know Gears fans will do that. I want E-Day to be a Battlefield 1 style Gears of War game that means a ton of destruction. I want this to apply not only to the campaign but to multiplayer as well. You know, we've actually read this on our YouTube community tab here because it's the exact same comment. You know, if you shot a barrier made of sandbags, it would vaporize. If you shot it with a boom shot, yeah. So we've addressed this earlier on. Surprised no one really said this, but Marcus and Dom the most. Yeah, no one's really spoken about that too much. Their bond throughout the first 3 games was just cinema to play and watch. When I was growing up, I only played co-op with my older brother and was always player 2. Not playing or seeing Dom in the latest games just felt wrong. Yeah, man. Also just a good protagonist, back, front and center. Playing Kate in 5 felt like eating a sandwich with nothing but bread. Very much agreed, man. Man. Dom was so important to Gears, and some people say like Gears kind of died with Dom, like it ended with Dom. Dom, man. Cannot wait to see him, like, see more of him in E-Day. Okay, so this is a very long one. Similar atmosphere to the original games, dark, gothic, anti-fascist themes present in the setting, but not addressed in a heavy-handed way. There's always been a background theme due to the setting, architecture, and coalition lore, like Warhammer 40k with the absurdity and satire dialed down. The somewhat light-hearted, sometimes ridiculous machismo the franchise is known for, having moments of levity, but also have the characters treat the situation in a serious, morbid, gruff tone, unlike 4 and to a lesser extent 5. Yeah, I agree with that. That's good points. No open world sections, agreed. Collectibles with lore are okay, and was a thing I liked in 5. That's the thing I liked about Gears 5 as well. They did add a lot of lore from collectibles and stuff. The thing I'm most nervous about will be the multiplayer. Hope the character skin designs will complement rather than detract from the incredible environmental design and tone every multiplayer map in the franchise has had. No color on rainbow skins, I agree. Luchadors, yes, get that out of here. Day of the Dead, zombie paint, Santa Claus, etc. Remember the Krampus Scion skin. The goofy skins are diametrically opposed to the ethos of the Gears of War franchise. If they absolutely must do it, I will accept the colourful weapon skins a la Gears of War 3, but I would prefer them to be gone too. Okay. I do agree with the character skins. For the weapon skins, I don't really mind too much, but I get what you mean. Like, you know, you kind of want it to stick to the themes. The game must tap into the design and story philosophy of the original games. Destroyed Beauty and Band of Brothers with monsters. Yeah, I very much agree. A random idea I propose that I often love in games is a bestiary of enemies with 3D models to look at. The Locusts are such cool baddies, and I've always loved the designs, especially for the creatures. Yeah, I'm a Locust fanatic as well, and I love just looking at the Locust artwork, the designs, behind the scenes look of the Locust, just the lore in general as well, and just everything Locust. I'm there, right? I just love the way they design them as well, the art directions, everything. I hope for some of the fluidity of gameplay in later entries to return, but with more oomph to the explosions, gore and kills that the earlier games had. Yeah, I agree. Headshots, explosions, everything. Keep it an action game, but dial up the horror aspects occasionally. Locusts are brutal and to be feared. Life on Sierra post E-Day is brutal and unforgiving. Humanity is losing the fight at a rapid pace. I agree, but I want the horror aspects to be there a lot more than occasionally. This one might be a little controversial. The game will undoubtedly explore Phoenix's backstory and all the stuff with his father, but Gears works best with a relatively contained story which touches on broader happenings in a more subtle way. I mean, you are right there, to be fair, because even throughout the trilogy, they do allude to a lot of things, and you kind of have to kind of figure it out yourself a little bit. But also, it doesn't go too in depth on the lore, like in a lot of situations. You learn a lot from collectibles as well, and other little pieces of dialogue and stuff. Like in the games, like even at the end of Gears of War 3, like Adam Phoenix is saying to Delta that, you know, I knew Emergency Day was coming. Only he knew. And Baird's the only one that tries to get answers out of him, but obviously they're out of time, and you as a gamer you want to know these answers, but the original trilogy never really dived into that too much. Even like the New Hope research facility, you're there and you know the computers are talking about like this, you know, the mountain and stuff, but Marcus is like, what's this and everything, but it never dives too deep into it, in my opinion, which is probably one thing that the original trilogy could have done better in some aspects. I feel a lot of the lore you have to kind of know as well from the books or the comics, or even so many aspects of the Lambent as well. Yeah. Anyway, where were we? The sense of the brotherhood in the Gears squad and going through the shit together while it goes from bad to worse is where the heart and soul of Gears is, in my opinion. Yeah, I very much agree with that. Gears 1 is relatively light on story, but the characters and mission and world are so memorable. Gears 2 has a large offensive and bigger battles, but often it's just you and your squad. Yeah, that's true. Gears 1 story is just, you know, about the Resonator and the Light Mass Bomb. There's not much of a story, but it's more about world building and just introducing the characters. Really, none of the characters have much of an arc in Gears 1. In Gears 2, obviously, bigger set pieces. It's a bigger fighter feel, like we mentioned. But it does always feel like it's just you and your squad. There are aspects, like in the Hollow, where you kind of meet up with Gears and stuff, but it's not much, is it? It's not much. Mainly just like Delta Squad. Maria will obviously have to come up, but shouldn't be a large focus. More of a motivation for Dom. Opa is a relatively contained story about the immediate war efforts in the aftermath of E-Day, with a focus on Marcus and Dom and potentially a couple of new squad members. No big lore dumps about Locust origins, Marcus's father, etc. I get what you're saying. Obviously, you don't want to go overboard on lore, right? But you do. It's Emergence Day, so it's the biggest event in the universe's history. So you need to encapsulate everything. You can't start missing out details and just make it seem like Gears 1 or 2, where it's just like, yeah, shit's going from bad to worse, and you're playing as Marcus and Dom, and like, you know, it's kind of the same. Like, Emergence Day has to encapsulate everything from every angle. Marcus and Dom's perspective, the COG leadership's perspective, the Locust's perspective. Why are they doing this in the first place? Humanity on Sarah, what was that like? And how did it change so quickly? The UIR, the nations of Sarah, because this was a planet-wide assault. It wasn't just an attack on, you know, Tyrus. So it needs to encapsulate humanity, the civilians, the soldiers, from the COG and the UIR. They're both superpowers, right? This is not just countries. Like, this is not just one country. So it's the whole world going through this, right? So it can't just feel like it's just Marcus and Dom. Obviously, they're saying it's the story about Marcus and Dom, where their brotherhood began. That's fine, in my opinion, but it has to be way more than this. In my estimation, anyway, this is how I would go about it. Because it also needs to show, like, the motivation of the characters that gets them to where they are in the trilogy and beyond. Like, you know, Dom, what happened to him on E-Day? What happened to his kids? You know, and so on. And, you know, what has motivated him from the Pendulum Wars? You know, Carlos Santiago. Even Marcus, you know, having a rocky relationship with his dad, and knowing that his dad's building on weapons for the COG. You know, he used to be in the military before. I get what you're saying, that it doesn't need to be a huge lore dump. But one thing I would say about the trilogy is it could have tapped into the lore a bit more in certain aspects. But if E-Day is just Marcus and Dom, just mainly their story, with the DLCs being about Locust and maybe UIR and so on, and maybe the animated series is actually about includes more of the lore aspects, because, you know, in an animated series, you know, it doesn't, every episode is not going to be action, right? Whereas in a game, every scene has to be action. Like, obviously you're always fighting, you know, you're always in the war. Whereas in an animated series, for instance, that they're working on, they can actually go behind the scenes and show more of the COG leadership, you know, their discussions, and the UIR leadership on E-Day, them panicking, and so on and so forth. So there's just so much to encapsulate on that day. I truly do believe they need multiple DLCs on this game. I truly believe that, because I don't think you can capture all of this from just Marcus and Dom's perspective, and having multiple cutscenes from everyone else's angle. I think you need DLCs. Locust, whether it's like Halo 2, the Locust, you play as them like how it was in Realm Shadow, where it cuts back and forth, or have a Locust DLC, and then maybe even a UIR DLC in Goraznia or whatever. So yeah, the old boxy reticle. Yeah, I don't really mind too much, but I don't mind that one either. Some more UIR weapons and skins, yeah, because the UIR would have had way more weapons. We need to tap into that a bit more, yeah. Every weapon hard to use, I very much agree, in multiplayer. Aim assist off, this is all multiplayer, I believe, yeah. I'm with this traditional multiplayer. 4K resolution on ranked, juicy. In ranked, gaming gives us our ranking badges in this order: bronze, silver, gold, onyx, diamond, elite, and masters. God damn. Bring back OG maps, canals, clock tower, war machine, Raven Down, 4v4. No, forget 4v4, man. Get 4v4. It's 2025. I don't agree with this, to be honest. Even in Gears 5, I don't know why they went for 4v4. Nah. I mean, like, if when the Gears collection comes out, you can have your 4v4 in there. I don't want Clock Tower again. A War Machine, I don't mind. It's not come back that many times, but I wouldn't mind Raven Down. I don't really want to see Canals again, Clock Tower again. War Machine, we can bring back some better maps than War Machine, although that is an all-time classic, but doesn't play the same as it did in Gears 1, like it did in Gears 4 or 5. Raven Down's an all-timer for me. And when you're bleeding right and trying to escape the enemy and you jump over something or anything, you're not supposed to go down, you're escaping the enemy like common sense. Fix it. I think he means that, you know, like when you're really low on health and you jump over cover and like you just go down. So I think he's referring to that, and yeah, fair enough. Bullet magnetism off, I agree. Make the game hard to play, yep. Make the game hard to get a kill. Make the game like Gears 1 where you can clutch a 4v1, hurt, bleeding and clutching, no escalation, no capture the flag game modes. Must have modes, execution, warzone, TDM, control and King of the Hill. And I mean, I definitely agree with what you're saying about, like, you know, make it hard. No aim assist, or very, very little. Obviously, there is some aim assist, right? Bullet magnetism, very, very low, whatever. But no escalation, I agree. No capture the flag. That doesn't really fit Gears anyway, that mode. I don't really think so. Execution Warzone, those games, that's 2006, man. You know, get that in a Phoenix collection. Get that in a Gears collection. TDM, I don't want to see that back either. I'm sick of that mode. People just camp and sit back and just Lancer. It's boring. I don't know why they added it in Gears 3. I do get it. They wanted to appeal to the mainstream, but Control, I don't mind. King of the Hill, yeah, but I want Wingman back as well. I want Guardian. Maybe Submission from Gears 2. A noob could never kill me on Gears 1 or Gears UE. Make them work for the kills, and have many more suggestions. Facts, proof, and evidence to make Gears E-Day the best Gears of War ever. Legend. WSA Marcelo. Okay. This is true, like, you know, in older Gears of War games, a noob can never kill you. Maybe in Gears 3, noobs could kill you, like, if they're just hiding and obviously sword off shotgun and hiding with the hammerburst somewhere or with a retro lancer. But Gears of War 1 and 2, I feel like noobs could not kill you. Like, if you're a good player, noobs cannot kill you. And if you're a beast, no one's touching you. Right? Whereas in Gears 5, for instance, anyone can kill anyone in my estimation. Or like, even if they can't kill you, they've got a much higher chance of killing you. Yeah, obviously, like in Gears 1 or 2, if someone kills you with the frags, they got you with the frags, right? But I mean, like in terms of a Nasher fight, they ain't really killing you. Whereas in Gears 5, for instance, the Nasher is a bit of a gamble at times as well. So it's like, you know, I don't even trust the mechanics. So yeah, I agree with a lot of you. I agree with what yeah, I agree with a lot of what you said, and I disagree with some aspects. But yeah, really good comment overall. I want to see the law being respected fully, unlike judgment. The law cannot be butchered at all, so it needs to be retro lances only and a very small amount of standard locust enemies. Drones, grenadiers, wretches, corpses, reavers, brumaks, boomers, etc. Basically any enemy type that was introduced during Gears 1. No canters, tickers, blood mounts, maulers, etc. Well, I'll debunk this in a second. Debunking. Depending on how they go with the story, they can put the Chainsaw Lancer in the game, but it's entirely focused on E-Day in the first few weeks, then keep it away. Okay, so yeah, obviously we want the law respected, unlike judgment. Do not butcher the law, of course. In terms of the enemies, obviously I've done a whole video breaking this down. But obviously, Gears 1 was 14 years after Emergence Day. That's 14 years of war. There would have been many Locust variants that came and went. Like some Locust variants may have become extinct, like Hollow Creatures, for instance. Some Locust classes may have become redundant over time. For instance, like maybe the Locust Hunters, or other Locust variants, for instance. There may have not been Locust Grenadiers on Emergence Day because they didn't have the Nasher shotgun. Other Locust drone variants that had a different type of shotgun, and so on and so forth, right? Blood mounts, they were there, like, you know, the beast riders, they were riding every beast on Emergence Day. But with the Cantus, obviously I agree, they were underground in the hollow, so Gears of War Judgment messed that up once again. Tickers, I kind of agree, because I mean they were in obviously Judgment and Gears of War Tactics as well, but obviously we kind of saw them in Gears of War 2 where they were used as like landmines to blow up the assault derricks and so on. I think tickers can be seen anyway. The Cantus, you definitely cannot have the Cantus no matter what, right? Maulers, they were seen in Realm Shadow as well. So just because they weren't in Gears 1, because Gears 1 is just one battle, right? It's just Landmass Offensive 14 years after E-Day. And even with Boomer variants, you can have the unarmored Mauler, for instance. You can have like a Master Boomer, you know, the concept. You could have another Boomer variant that had other like melee weapons equipped. That would be amazing. You know, mutated blood mounts, for instance, that are even bigger. Or other hollow creatures that we never saw because, you know, they were earlier in the timeline. Locust Rages as well, you can see Locust Rages, so I get what you're saying, but, you know, Gears 1 was 14 years later, so I do understand your law concerns though, obviously. Honestly, dark, gritty gameplay. Bro's hitting the gritty. Horror aspect, yeah, I agree. May not line up timeline-wise, but I'd like to be mid-fight with UIR and then be suddenly interrupted by the reveal of the Locust. The UIR surrendered anyway. This was before Emergence Day, and obviously there was weeks of peace leading up to Emergence Day, so I don't think you're going to see this. I want the guns to have more impact, yeah? More gruesome damage caused by guns and to truly show off their power. Nice. And the game to be the darkest in the franchise. Me too. 4-player co-op, once again. No stopping power on ARs, okay. Bring back the 2-piece, all of the Gears 2 maps. Oh yes. No, I don't think, not all of them, but probably 95% of them. Active damage boost, reload, quickness, tagging, power weapons that do their job. Clean hitboxes, fair enough, man. You know what, as well, for multiplayer, I want to be able to tag, to plant 2 grenades again, to be honest. I miss doing that, especially on Guardian. Oh, man. Many people have commented on returning the darkness of Gears 1 and 2, and I agree, but I should also note that it'd be cool to be able to see shit without having to crank up the brightness of the game to 11. Yeah. Yeah, you're right. New beast mode where you merge out and e-hole as Locust and just face waves and waves of gears who drop easy, and you destroy it as much as you can. So you emerge out of an e-hole as Locust. That would be nice. That would be pretty sweet seeing that. And just face waves and waves of gears who drop in on you, and you destroy like as much as you can. That would be nice. Like what? The waves just keep going? Interesting. I'm just going to be happy fighting the old locust. Yeah, man. Wretches, Cantus, Therons, Tickers, Blood Mounts. Well, do not say Cantus. We cannot have Cantus. No. Tickers, maybe. But not, definitely not Cantus. As long as Kate and JD aren't in it, I think it'll be fine. I agree. But then again, we had Judgment, so... The point of view of Locust in their cities and Ukon modifying the animals. Ah, that'd be nice. I wouldn't mind seeing that. That's what I mean about this Locust perspective, man. So much potential. I wanted to see it on PS5. I don't want to have to get an Xbox for one game, and for Gears I'd probably have to. This person's probably on PS5, and hopefully it's on PS5. I want that. I want those numbers, man. I want the best for Gears. Kevin Repo again for that soundtrack, and I don't think it comes coming up on the screen here, but on my side this is Patrick Sultan and the Mark 1 Lancer as the main weapon. No retconning like in Judgment. Yeah, but obviously this is the story does include the Lancer Chainsaw origin, so they are probably gonna retcon what Judgment messed up. So yeah, that is Reddit done as well, man. Ah, there's so many comments we got through, but yeah. So guys, this was a huge one, and I just wanted to make it unfiltered, just my honest raw thoughts, and I just wanted to just fully go in depth on all of your concerns, your comments, and I want to be a voice for you in this Gears of War community, that this franchise that we love so much. Cannot wait for Emergence Day. Just counting down the days. Hopefully the Gears of War collection is real and coming as well. Yeah, thank you for watching if you did get this far. Really appreciate you, and if you do want to support me and the channel further, then consider, you know, becoming a YouTube member or a Patreon member, and that really does help support me as well and the channel, so it helps, you know, me a lot. So yeah, drop a like, subscribe if you haven't done so already, make sure to hit notification bell so you don't miss another Gears of War video. Big thank you to the YouTube and Patreon members. I love you all, man, and till next time, Abs out. This is a long video, and man, this is so tough to make this video, honestly. But yeah, we want the best for Gears of War E-Day, brothers to the end. It's a mad world, and I cannot wait. So until next time, guys, peace.